Wow. Feels like it's been a while since I did that. That was awesome. Isn't that song so cool? I love that. How's everyone doing? I'm bored, full of shepherd's pie, and ready to fuck. Not you guys, I just mean like in the general sense. Just ready to like fuck shit up, fuck around, find out. This is a very different vibe from the first track. This is so much more calm. Wow, level 9 hype train, look at that, that's cool. I forgot how any of this stuff works. I was trying to set up my settings and I went to the stream manager and it was all completely different than last time. What's the name of the first song? It's called The Hunter from the Bloodborne soundtrack. Oh, look at all these people! Did you see the cameo Ryan Reynolds did in the new Stray Kids song? I did, that was cool. I heard that they were supposed to be in the movie, but they couldn't make the scheduling work, which is, that sucks, because it would have been cool. By the sounds of it, it sounds like everybody's in the Deadpool movie. I mean, like, character-wise, I'm not, don't worry. I wanted to do something for Deadpool coming out because I did the one for Deadpool 2 ages ago. That's how I met Ryan Reynolds the first time. And when they were on the press tour, when they were in Shanghai, the first time he was posting about it, I messaged him and I was like, I hope we get to do something in London together. That would be cool. And he said, me too. And then it didn't happen. I got invited to a thing that was like an advanced screening for the movie. But they were only showing like 37 minutes of the movie. So I was like, well, I don't want to go and see like 37 minutes of it and then have to go see the rest of the movie later and rewatch the 37 minutes. It was just kind of awkward. But we were looking after BB that day anyway, so I just stayed at home. Did I ever end up playing Lies of P? I did. I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I didn't really play it a second time. I might go back and play it some other time just for myself. But I thought it was cool. It's hard to do a FromSoft game that's not FromSoft because I always just feel it. I've played those games so often that when something feels a little off, it's really noticeable to me. Jack stream, what's up? I know, I've just been in the mood to stream lately. Not to do anything in specifically, but I don't know. I kind of got tired of uploading the same way all the time and just kind of having that sort of wall when you're sitting here and you're recording on your own and you're doing Let's Plays. Like, it's fun, but there's just kind of like a disconnect. Like, I'm not here being able to interact with people now and you upload stuff and then people are reacting to it later. It just feels kind of weird these days. Was I invited to the Mr. Beast challenge? I was, yeah. He's invited me to a few things in the past, and sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to do that video idea. And then this time I was like, you know what, I'll do this one, that sounds cool. And then he told me when it was happening, and it was literally the day my friend Justin was flying in. I got my friend Justin a ticket to come to England to hang out, because I hadn't seen him in so long. And I was like, come to England, I'll pay for the ticket. He came over, we were having fun, I got tickets to go see Tool. And the day Mr. Beast was filming was the day Justin flew in and the day Tool was performing. So I was like, I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm sure that was going to be cool. And there was a lot of cool people in it. The video turned out really awesome. But I'm not passing up hanging out with one of my best friends to go see Tool for a YouTube video. Mr. Beast is fake? Oh, don't be like that. I think, in terms of YouTube, I think most of what you're seeing from people, despite people's best intentions, is fake. Like, any of the people you're watching online as content creators, they're not fully being themselves on camera, and they never will, so I think it's kind of unfair to say that about a specific person. I really miss your uploads. Yeah, I'll upload again soon. I wanted to do Still Wakes the Deep, because that looked really fun. I like that developer, even though a lot of their stuff has been hit and miss. And then Evelien played it and said it was really good. And I've gotten comments from other people to play it, and I thought it looked really cool. But then I got a really sore throat when it came out, and it took like 2 weeks for that to go away. So I'm still trying to like take it easy, because I'm like, I don't want to like yell and have that kind of like show back up. Gab is live too. I know, it's almost like we share a house. Are you taking time for yourself? Always. Now more than ever. And it feels good. It's also been like it's like the first time in my life where I'm like really trying to enjoy the summer. Normally it's like seasons change and winter happens, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm miserable. It's dark early and I'm depressed, and I get my depression kicks in quite heavily when the seasons change. And then when summer comes around, I'm like, yeah, time to interact with it. And then it gets like a little too hot, or I'm working all the time and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm not enjoying life as much as I could be sometimes. And now I'm like, now I am. And it's great. Why am I so bad at Elden Ring? Maybe it's just not your type of game. Happens to everybody. I'm bad at certain games. You can also just summon mimics and stuff, and summon the NPCs that are in the world to make it a bit easier for yourself. That's what I did for the series. I was like, I don't want to struggle on a boss for like 4 hours and really fight for everything. I'm like, I have shit to do. I don't want to be sitting here for 5 hours on one boss recording an episode where I get hungry and tired and annoyed and angry. So I just bumped out the mimic and had fun with that. Would you stream more often? Maybe. I kind of just like doing things now. Like, I remember I saw Jerma said it recently, where he was like, you should absolutely see me as retired. I only do this now when I feel like it. And I don't really see myself as retired or anything like that, but I'm definitely doing it more when I want to. Thoughts on Alan Wake 2? I love that game. That is such a cool game. I even got to do... because that game came out and I had such a good time playing it, and I was like... I think, personally, that was probably my game of last year. I think Baldur's Gate 3 was probably better, and I played that longer, and I had such a fond experience with that. But because Alan Wake means so much to me, like that Alan Wake 1 was the reason I started drinking black coffee, and the reason I love coffee so much today. So technically that's the reason I made a coffee company. And Alan Wake 2 came out, I never thought it would, and it hit so many of the notes that I like the writing. I feel like if I wanted to make something at the max of my creative ability, it would be something like what Sam Lake does. I feel like his vibe gels so well with what I like. So when I was playing it, it felt like a game made for me. And then we went to the Game Awards and we got to meet Sam Lake, and I was like freaking out, and I was like, dude, you're literally a genius. Like, I don't fawn over celebrities all that much, and I don't fanboy over many people, but Sam Lake was one of them. And then earlier in the year, he was in London for the BAFTAs, and I got to spend an entire day with him. I got to meet him in London from like 3 o'clock onwards. We got to just go have coffee, talk creative influences, talk about creativity in general. I got to see some like stuff they were working on, like the DLC stuff, the comic book panels that showed up in that. He had shown me earlier, and I got to like spitball with him, and he was such a nice dude, and he is just such a genuine person, and he just feels so kind. And that was like as I was walking to dinner with him, I was literally like, dude, you don't understand how much of a dream come true this is for me, to just be able to sit and chat and pick your brain. Like, we all have those people we look up to creatively, where you're like, I would just love to sit and talk and ask you all of the like silly questions that are so obvious, but like, I want to like pick your brain and see how it works. So I got to do that, which I feel very fortunate on. So yeah, I would love to do anything with Sam Lake. He's one of my favorite people. Sam Lake, Miyazaki, I think those are like my two biggest influences when it comes to anything I want to do. I think they're such cool people. Like when celebs are genuine. Me too. I've met some that are like, or like even other creators where sometimes it's like, get bad vibes from you. It's just because I'm an empath like that, you know? I'm such a good judge of character. I've never done anything wrong. What were you outbid on? The Miyazaki poster? People are taking that way more seriously than I was. Like, I think anytime I tweet anything, it's just laden with sarcasm. Unless it's something like when I tweeted about Palestine or something. Like, obviously that's serious. But when I tweet something like that, because Ludwig outbid me when I was sleeping, and I was like, I was just going to give it to a fan, but you robbed the world of that. I hope you can live with yourself and that guilt. And so people were like, why are they mad at each other? I'm glad he got it. I'm glad that $21,000 went to charity. And it made it a more fun thing, because I was just going to give it away to somebody anyway, as part of like the end of the event. I thought the end of the event, he'll probably give away that poster, and then I told Connor beforehand that I was going to give it away anyway. So I don't know why I felt weird about taking something like that. I feel like I'm in a position where if I really wanted a signed poster from Miyazaki, I could probably find some sort of contact or connection or something like that. So I thought it would just be cool for a fan to get it. But it's also fine if Ludwig wants to keep it for himself. He did bid on it and spent an enormous amount of money on it, so I don't really care. Been listening to any new music lately? I don't think so. I think I just keep going through rotation of old stuff. I find it very hard to kind of like find new music. I've just been listening to Kendrick again since the beef stuff was happening. I have been listening to No Hands by Joey Valance and Bray. That album. I think it's just fucking awesome.
Never been a sucker or a lame, you can trust that. See me in the club, shaking ass, I'ma bust that.
That shit rips. Like real old school Beastie Boys vibes. But I've also just been listening to, I don't know why I got back into listening to Metallica recently. Listening to a lot of Gojira still. I listen to the Dazed and Confused soundtrack a lot because it has a really good mix of like old school. Listening to some Wu-Tang, Killswitch Engage. That's kind of it. I tried like I listened to like Charlie XCX's Brat album, which I find funny. I kept meaning to make a tweet with like me with my green hair with just Brat written over it, because I was like, oh, that's kind of the green from that album. And even though I think her music's not necessarily like the stuff I would go to immediately, I think it's a cool album. Chapel Rowan's pretty cool recently. She's been like blowing up, and I was like, what's the fuss all about? What's everybody talking about? I have never heard of this person before. And I listened to it and I was like, this is really good music, but is it something I would put on repeatedly for myself? Maybe not. It's much more of a vibe. I feel like Chapel Rowan is for the girlies, as people online would say. To the point where I was calling her Chapelle Rowan. When the first time I saw her name, I was like, I'm European. I can say these things properly. But it's always like certain musicians come up and like the entire internet's freaking out about them, and I'm like, well, I want to make up my own mind about them. I don't want to just hear somebody because they're famous because a song went viral on TikTok or something. Like, I want to actually listen to it, and I can appreciate all of their music being something really, really cool. Jack, will you ever play Celeste? No, I fucking suck at it. I tried playing it on my Switch one time. I so badly want to be good at games like that. Like the parts in Hollow Knight that are kind of like Celeste, where you're like bouncing off walls and dashing across and shit like that, are really fun. But I suck at Celeste. I suck at Super Meat Boy. Anything that it's like the mechanics are so fine-tuned for that, I wish I had that brain, but I don't. Listen to any podcasts? I don't really listen to podcasts all that much. I have a podcast, but I don't know. I feel like I don't really do much. If I'm like painting or something, I like putting on like a TV show in the background. So I don't really listen to any podcasts. Coffee business still going strong? Very strong. Despite the fact that I don't promote it nearly enough. I can't remember where I was looking recently. I saw a post, somebody was talking about like they were talking about YouTubers, and then somebody was like, oh, Jack fell off, he was so good back in the past, and blah blah blah, like the same kind of things people usually say, which is fine. But somebody then replied like, yeah, he's way too corporate now. And I'm like, I can see where that's coming from, because I do have like comics now, and I do like coffee. So I can see like you have a bunch of celebrities like a Dwayne Johnson or a Ryan Reynolds or Conor McGregor, or like all these people kind of like have something now, and a lot of YouTubers also have something now. But I was like, well, that's just not true, because I can see where you're coming from, but I don't promote my coffee nearly enough. I should be promoting it way more. Like, they're always like, we have a thing coming out, will you promote it? And I'm like, maybe. I feel like I'm overdoing it, which I'm not. It's just a perception I have of myself. I'm so paranoid about over promoting things. I don't even promote the podcast anytime. I promote the comics whenever they're coming out, and then I forget. And I really like brand deals have taken a huge backseat for me. I don't do merch. I stopped doing merch because I didn't believe in the merch that I was making. None of the designs were good enough. I didn't really like it. And I was like, I'm not going to do merch just because everybody does merch, and I'm not really in this to just make money. And I've probably turned down like 20 brand deals this year just because they keep coming to me being like, do you want to play this game? It's a mobile game. No, look, shit, I would never play this ever on my own. I'm not going to push it out to my audience just because they offered a ton of money. And then other stuff, I'm like, it just doesn't align with me. I'll do a brand deal for something where it's like, if it's something I legitimately use all the time, like if fucking Neumann came to me with a new microphone or something like that, maybe. But I'm not going to do that. Or like a game's coming out, like if Elden Ring wanted to do a brand deal, absolutely. So I find it weird to be called too corporate now. I mean, it's just one person, it doesn't really matter. But I'm someone who I get very introspective very often. I like thinking about how things are and how things work and how people think and how I think and how I am and who I am. But it's also like, if you don't say anything about it, people just run rampant and make up stuff about you and say whatever they want, which is it's part of the business, but doesn't mean I have to accept it. Do you have a favorite song at the moment? No. Not really. I don't really, because I have like ADHD brain and like mild autism. So if a song gets into my head that I listen to too often, first of all, I listen to it way too much. I'll completely burn myself out on it, and then I'll never be able to listen to that song ever again. So I'm trying to pull myself back from certain things like that, where I don't want to like. Plus, it like gets in my head. As someone who played drums for so long, I used to go to sleep, or try to go to sleep, and just have songs and drums going on in my head, and I would be playing them in my head, and then be like, "That's a cool beat. Maybe I could come up with that. Yeah, I'll do this." Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, now I just can't fucking sleep because I just have this going over and over and over in my head. Listen to Love. I do. She's great. But we were talking about it, an episode of the podcast me and Ethan recorded yesterday that's going up this week. We were talking about artists like that because Chapel Roan was talking about how stuff got too big and too crazy and people are being a bit weird and she can't really do the things she wants to do anymore. And that is kind of like a downside of popularity, that sometimes it just happens to you and gets way too big without your consent. Which, it's like, well, you're putting the stuff out there hoping that it gets big, but sometimes it just goes beyond your means before you can handle it. And I think it's such an interesting thing to talk about because I feel like I kind of went through that in like 2016, not on that scale, but I definitely had like a blow up out of nowhere where people like knew more about me than I knew about them. Kind of more than I thought about myself. People were like saying things about me that I was like, I totally forgot about that. I don't know what to do with this information. And going outside, people knowing who you are, going to like a restaurant, being like, can I even like eat in public? Are people looking at me? Like, it just makes you paranoid. So I thought that that was an interesting thing. I forgot why I was talking about this. Oh, we were talking about Love. I was saying I wish more people knew about her music because I find it very soulful, very passionate, very like her, very personal and artistic. And I was like, well, maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe it's a good thing that more people don't know. Maybe she's happy where she is and just like sitting in her lane and doing her thing, and being too big, maybe it ruins it. I don't know. I think stuff getting popular these days gets a bit too popular too fast. And that's a bit scary. Like, I always use Jenna Ortega as the example where she was up and coming and you knew she was going to be a star and you knew she was going to do cool things. And then the Wednesday show came out, which, like, the Wednesday show just came and went and people were like, yeah, it's really fun. And then people were like, nah, I don't like it. Who cares? Fuck that show. Like, it just, classic internet culture now where it lasts 2 weeks and then it's gone. But she went from getting like 100,000 likes on an Instagram post to like 6 million. And then it's like, how do you deal with that? How do you reconcile that with yourself? You can't live up to that. You can't keep that going. You can't react to that in any sort of like healthy way. And then when you get that popular that quick, people are willing to turn on you very fast as well if you don't live up to a standard that they've made up. So it's really scary out there for people now. First live, welcome! I always thought you were cool, dude. Hey, thanks, buddy. Is it the backwards hat and the cherry coke in my hand that's making me just so cool and relatable? You think you're gonna play body cam? Probably not. Doing anything new for working out? I am so fucking bad about taking care of my physical health lately. I can never find... I'm good at working out. I'm good at making up my own programs. I literally studied it in college. I know what I'm doing. I can make a meal plan. I know how to gain muscle, lose weight. I can do it very well, but I can't make it sustainable for my brain. I don't know what my brain reacts to for a sustained period of time. I bounce off stuff. I get so bored of routine so fast that I do it for like 3 months, get in great shape, and then probably overdid it because I hyperfixate on it and then just get out of it. So I'm like, what's the sustainable method for me to do that? So right now I'm in a position where I'm like, I want to eat a bit healthier most days. If we were at a party the other day with friends and I was like, you know what? There's pizza going around, there's sweets and whatever. I don't really care for today. So I'll do whatever I want. And then the next day it's like, oh, just don't overdo it all the time. Like the moderation aspect of it. But working out, I am so fucking bad at lately. I'm trying to like figure out a routine that will work for me and I just can't. I can't stick to anything. What did you study in uni? Hotel and leisure management was the title of it, but it had a bunch of stuff. It was basically like if you could be the manager of a hotel that has a leisure facility in it. So you need to know how to run front of house at reception, housekeeping. You need to know how housekeeping works. You need to know all of that front of house stuff. Then you need to know back of house stuff, like the inner workings of the housekeeping and all of that kind of aspect of it. You need to know how the kitchen works. You need to know how to do inventory for a kitchen. It's basically preparing you for if you went into the hotel industry, what avenue of it would you want to go into? So I learned how to serve food, which I was very good at. I learned how to cook food, which I was even better at. I learned how to do like front of house stuff, like reception. I learned how to do housekeeping. I literally had an exam where I had to change a room. There was like a sequence for what I had to do, like bed sheets, cleaning the toilets, the showers. I had other classes then that were all focused on leisure. So like swimming pools, I had to know how a swimming pool worked. The chlorine balance of a swimming pool, I had to know how the pumps in the back of it worked. All of that I forgot, obviously, because I learned it for an exam and I didn't continue it. I had to know how to do workout classes like step aerobics. I needed to know how muscles worked, the types of routines you could make in case the hotel had a gym, that I could work in the gym there. So I got certified to be like a gym instructor. I think all I needed to do afterwards was do like a single exam or certification that would take like a couple of hours, and then I would have been like, not board certified, but like legit certified to run a gym. And I was lucky because I already knew like a lot about working out and muscles and stuff just out of my own passion for it in my spare time. So I passed that exam with like 90%, like my practical exam of it. The written exam was awful because our teacher forgot to teach us half the stuff that was on the curriculum and told us what the answers were going to be the day before because he didn't want to get in trouble for not teaching us the stuff because he just liked talking. So I learned a lot of that stuff. And then just like, I don't have to know any of that. Like I learned how to do table service by putting out the table, like where all the knives and forks go, what side your glasses should be on, what side you serve from. You should always serve the perceived older female first as a sign of respect. And then like go around the thing that way. Like there was all these like how to serve people for like European continental standards. So basically butler training. I had to learn like putting the knives and forks down that were like supposed to be a thumbnail away from the edge. So now whenever I would go to a restaurant afterwards and they would do service, I'd be like, they're not doing this very well. They're not doing like, they should have served you first. They should have served you from that side. The forks are just all over the place. But it was like, I was training for like a Michelin star restaurant kind of vibe instead of just, hey, we're at a tapas place in town. But I like that. I like the sort of, again, it was like a routine. I like a routine to a degree, and then when I do it for a certain amount of time, I get bored because there's nothing challenging me anymore in it. So that's probably bled over into my work as well after doing this for so long. But I really liked front of house, like doing being like a waiter, because we would go out and then we would have to see, we had like mock versions of the dishes out for people when they were coming in, and we were only serving family members from the people who were in the course, so they got free dinner every Wednesday evening as part of like us training, food not going to waste. People got dinner and giving us people around to be comfortable with. So I would go out and learn all the specials, and because I loved cooking, I knew the dishes like in and out immediately, and I would be able to like memorize it really well, go around the table, and I felt like I was really good at it. Until one day I dropped all the plates going back into the kitchen, and that kind of like shatters your confidence for a little bit. But there was all like weird stuff, like most places don't do this, but the way I was training was you start at this corner of the table, and then it's like, okay, you're going to be A, and you write down A, and you make up like, okay, that's that corner there. And then like A wants this, B wants this, C wants this. And then when you come back out, then you don't have to ask people what they ordered. You don't have to come out and be like, who had the fish? You just come out and you knew, okay, A took the fish, I put you as A, I put that down in front of your face. So it was stuff like that I was learning. And it was very overwhelming, but there was just so much to it that I was like, I can perfect all of this. And like the only thing I was really bad at was holding a lot of plates because I have small hands. So I couldn't hold like several plates, and I was like, I'm gonna drop these, so I'd much rather do it comfortably. You were trained that way as well? Nice. Yeah, and I was doing the yes chef stuff. Like I was doing kitchen service where the chef that was there, I had to do the like, yes chef, you got it chef. And then like hands and that kind of stuff, and like behind coming in with plates. That was really fun, but it also, my cousin's a chef and he was always like, never become a chef. It's the worst industry to be in. And then I was like, oh, but you're cooking and it's fun. And then I did chefing service for 6 months. And I was like, this fucking sucks. This is the worst. Everybody's stressed out. You're running around with hot plates, sharp knives. If you fuck up a plate, you have to restart over. People are waiting on you. There's time crunches for everything. It's so stressful. I don't know how anybody does it. I couldn't do it for any length of time. Afterwards, I was like, I really liked cooking food, but this wasn't cooking food. This was being on like a factory line, making so much food that I forgot what food was. I was just doing repetitive tasks of like, I'm peeling potatoes for an hour. Have I watched The Bear? I have. I didn't watch, I haven't finished season 3 because I just kind of got bored of it. It wasn't, I really love season 1 and 2. I remember people talking about it and it finally came out in Disney Plus here. So I got all of season 1 on a flight to LA one time and I was like, oh, there's 30-minute episodes, cool. Watched the first episode, literally didn't stop until the season was done. I loved it. And then season 2, I feel like was even better. Season 3, I feel like was kind of spinning its wheels a little bit. I didn't really know where it was going or what it was doing. So I kind of just fell off. I'll get back to it and watch it, but I don't know, I started to like worry about myself because I was like, I'm not really enjoying season 3 of The Bear and I love that show. I'm not really enjoying season 4 of The Boys and I loved that show. And like House of the Dragon, I was like, this isn't really like connecting with me either, and season 1 was so cool. And I was like, is it me? Am I losing joy in my life? But I think maybe writer strike and stuff kind of affected a lot of these. And it's just, there's so much fucking... There's so many, like, shows going around now. Boys finale is great. Yeah, I have 2 more episodes of The Boys to go. And I heard the finale was fun, but I don't know. It's all personal at the end of the day. Like, some people like the shows that I don't like, so... I think for me, stuff is just feeling like it's going nowhere. And The Boys kind of feels like it's doing... Like, I was really excited about the end of season 3, where Homelander kind of goes off the rails, and I'm like, finally, we're getting to it. Season 4 is going to be awesome. And I felt like we were doing the same thing again. Like, the boys themselves felt like they weren't doing anything. I didn't really care about Huey, or Butcher, or Starlight, or MM. I didn't really care, like, about anything that was happening to any of those characters. But only has 1 season left, so we'll see what happens. Finale was lame. Yeah, I feel like season 3's finale was also divisive. I wasn't a huge fan of some of the stuff that was happening in it. Your hair looks so healthy. Thank you. Blonde. I'm working my way out to the gray, so I'm not... Because I want to let the gray come out more naturally. I'm kind of sick of dyeing it brown and having it be brown. I want the natural color to come out, which is very gray. But I'd like... It goes at like a line down your head when it's just brown, so I'm kind of like making it lighter and lighter and lighter until it's to the point where it's where it should be. I'm kind of curious how gray it is, because it's like, God, my hair needs to be washed. It's like, it's very white. And I was kind of insecure about it for a while, because you don't want to be like 30. Well, I mean, I was like 18 and gray, like going gray. So but I think that by the time I was like 24, I was fully gray. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I doing that for? I'm trying to like I said that this year was like my year of confidence. So I'm trying to like work towards a more authentic self. Turning into Geralt. Winds howling. I always love that. Anytime we see winds howling in a movie in the subtitles, I'm always like, winds howling. Because he always says that in Witcher 3. Or evil is evil, lesser, greater, middling. I don't know the actual quote, but I love the way he speaks. Curse you, Bale! God, that guy... I'm so happy with the voice line. I mean, it's so fucking annoying when you're trying to fight Bale and he's yelling that over and over and over again in your ear. But that guy fucking screaming at the top of his lungs is the coolest part of that game. I hope that he had the most fun recording that those voice lines. I vow you will rue this day. Something something dragon warrior. Oh, terror incarnate. He just kept going. With a hail of harpoons. Yeah, I fucking wish those harpoons did anything. They're so crap. Maybe I just wasn't geared for them properly? I don't know. Welcome back, Captain Ahab. He did sound like that, didn't he? It did feel like... Oh, do you think that's what it's inspired by? Because like Bale feels like his white whale, his Moby Dick. And he's using harpoons. I never thought about that. Huh. I thought about reading Moby Dick recently. Well, I went through a phase of like, I'll read books. I want to get back into reading. What's the ones everyone recommends? And everyone always recommends like classic literature, like A Pride and Prejudice, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Flowers for Algernon, and Moby Dick is always there. And I looked it up and I didn't realize that most of Moby Dick is just whale facts. That it's kind of like 2 books in one, and I was like, I'm not fucking reading this. I would get so bored. So I read Stormlight Archive instead. Which I did. I recorded a video talking about Stormlight Archive yesterday. So that'll go up on my second channel sometime. Whale hater? Fuck off, Sam. I'm not a whale hater. Well, what have whales done for me? Nothing. Moby Dick is super boring. It felt like that. I felt like you have to be into it. Maybe I'll just read it and pretend it's a sequel to The Lighthouse or something. Stormlight Archive spoilers? I'm not going to say any here. There's a shit ton of spoilers in the video, but I say when it's happening. Because it's kind of, I don't want to fucking talk about the books and then not geek out about it, like the bigger moments with the people who have read it. Like I want to experience that with other people and see what they're saying about it. So if you don't want spoilers for Stormlight Archives, it's probably a video to avoid. Right now I'm reading Sabriel because Evelien talks highly of that. I finished the 4th Stormlight and I'm like, okay, I need a break from Brandon a little bit because you start seeing like the formula people write in and I don't want to like start seeing I kind of started seeing it in Stormlight Archive. I kind of like saw the machinations of like how he put stuff together, and when he said he like writes 3 different stories basically and then merges them together somehow with the books, I was like, now I can see that. I can see that some stuff didn't really like connect to each other other than this like one tentative thing that you piece together. There's like one chapter that kind of like binds them together and I'm like, I see it now. So I don't want to read it too much and then kind of ruin some of the fun in it. I'll just be like picking it apart. Any movies you recommend? What are good movies this year? Last one I saw was Long Legs, which I really like, but I understand why some people don't like it. Because I think the marketing just kind of like ruined it. Saying, oh, scariest movie in decades and shit like that. And it was the same with Skinamarink when that came out. And when I watched Skinamarink, I was like, I didn't really like that. And I just can't stop thinking about it all the time. I think I actually loved it, but just didn't realize it. Long Legs was good. It's just really good vibes. It's one of those movies where it's like, yeah, stuff is a bit predictable and things don't always make like it's a movie that you can probably pick apart if you want to, but I just like movies like that. It's shot well, it's acted well, it's color graded well. It's just really moody. I like that. Quiet Place Day One, I had fun with. What else have I seen? I haven't seen Maxine yet. Haven't seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes yet. Fall Guy was fun. But it's kind of like a one and done kind of movie. This has been a weird year for movies. I felt like I saw a ton of movies this year, but I'm looking through like a list and none of them are really standing out to me. Wait, some of these... Seven Samurai, that's not this year. What are you talking about? First Omen was good. That was surprisingly good. I thought that was going to be terrible because it's a franchise movie from something way long ago, but it actually turned out pretty good. We watched The Watchers the other night, which over here it's called The Watched. I didn't realize it's called different things. Was it M. Night Shyamalan's daughter that made it? It was fine. I also didn't realize it was based in Ireland until they were talking about it in the movie, and that was kind of fun. And I was like, I like what you're doing. Like, I can see why people wouldn't like it, but I just like a creature feature kind of movie. And as we were watching, I was like, oh man, this third act of this movie jumped the shark way too much. You fucked that up. But there's like, this is the year where I feel like there's a bunch of movies that get good reviews, and then me and Evelyn watch it and we're like, I didn't like that. Like, is it Infestation? I think it's a Spanish movie about spiders. That started really cool, and I really liked the beginning of it and the setup, and then it just kind of fell apart and started to make no sense. It's kind of like Wreck. Was it Spanish? I don't know. French. It is French, yes. But there's like a scene with a hallway that, yeah, it was French. Why did I think it was Spanish? I think because I thought it reminded me a lot of Wreck, and Wreck is Spanish. And that Wreck is a great movie. But Infest, it was like you have such a good premise and a good setup, and I like what the characters are doing, and then it felt like it didn't capitalize on any of it. I do want to see Twisters. Yeah, Dune Part 2. I forgot that came out at the start of this year. That was awesome. Really love that movie. Because I'm a huge fan of Dune in general, and I think Dune Part 1 and 2 together, such a perfect combination. Joker's coming out later this year, Quiet Place. Furiosa was fucking great. I didn't think I would like that movie either, because I was like, are you doing this again with just like Furiosa? Like, her character's cool, but I don't really need to know the backstory. And then, I think after I watched it, maybe Honeymoon Period, I think I liked it more than Fury Road. Because some of the action was cool, and the beginning of the movie has kind of like a fantasy element to it almost. What else did I see? I'm excited for Deadpool Wolverine next week. Borderlands is coming out. I have literally no hopes for that movie. Gladiator 2. Man, there's a lot of stuff coming out at the end of the year. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know what else to say. I don't really know many other movies that I've seen this year. What a fucking weird year for movies. Alien Romulus? Look, Alien hasn't been good since Aliens. So I'm just gonna be like I'll see it, and I love Aliens, and like anytime an alien thing happens, I root for it, and I want it to be good, and I want it to do well, but It's just not there. I don't know what people are doing with the Aliens franchise. I don't know how you have such a perfect movie in Alien 1, like one of the most perfectly paced movies ever. And then you have Aliens, which is exactly what a sequel should be, which is just more, bigger, crazier. Maybe not lean into the horror, lean into the action. That's what people wanted to see. We got that, cool. And I don't know how they haven't figured it out. The best thing since Aliens is Alien Isolation, you're right. And I even kind of like Alien 4. It's an absolute train wreck. 3, I don't have the patience for. I just don't even like how that movie looks. But Alien 4, it had a couple of elements in it where I'm like, this is kind of goofy and this is kind of fun. I like that. But it's not good. Your beard kicks ass. Thank you. Thank you. 34 years of growth. Took a while. Yeah, Arcane Season 2 I think will be top notch. I saw that they wanted to like tackle Vagabond after Arcane Season 2. Well, like, they don't want to. I think they just said that it would be a dream project if they could do it. They probably won't. But it would be so fucking hype. Vagabond's like the only manga I can think of. There's probably lots more, but it's a manga that's so good and it's so well received and so many people know it, and it still doesn't have any sort of adaptation. Yeah, and it's not even done. Which it probably will never be. Seems like Takahiko Inoue just doesn't like it anymore. Which is, it's always the struggle with creative people that I've seen videos of him where he was talking about the creative process of it, and he was like, I really want to get the main character to smile in this issue. And as he was drawing it, he was like, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't make him smile. And I think it's kind of like a reflection of himself where he's so unbelievably talented, but I think the thing outgrew him, that it became this thing that's so lauded and so loved, and people have such high expectations for it that he kind of doesn't want to tackle it. And I understand that feeling a lot, where the expectation kind of ruins some of the fun of the creative elements of it, and now he just doesn't really have fun doing it. Even though it's like, I don't think anyone could argue that he's not like top of the game when it comes to mangakas. But it just shows that it's all perception. It's all yourself. Like, he would look at somebody else and be like, that's so much better than mine. Or he didn't get it how he wants. And we would look at it and be like, that's unbelievable. I can't believe someone can do that. So I understand it. I wish he could find more joy in doing it again, instead of it becoming such a chore to do. But it's the problem with doing anything creative. Anybody who's creative and anyone who's truly artistic, I think there's a difference between content and a difference between art. I think doing like regular Let's Plays for me, I think that's content. I don't think that's art. Which is fine, it doesn't have to be. But I think the people who are truly artistic, that like suffering artist trope is actually really true. And for some people it's just hard to push past that. Your passion turns into something else. Will you ever play Undertale Yellow? I did have it on my list. I have it written on like my whiteboard over there. I had, when I was trying to do, I haven't changed that at all. Undertale Yellow is on the top of it, but Crawl Space VR and Utility Room VR are on it as well, because I was going to do those. And then I don't know why I didn't. I write down a lot of stuff that I just don't end up recording, but I think Undertale Yellow is one of those ones that it looked way cooler than I thought it would. So I might get to it eventually. Crawl space is horrifying. Yeah, it looked really cool. The idea of a crawl space in VR is fucking horrifying. I think I didn't record it because it's a pain in the ass to set up any VR to record. Like here, it's just sit down, open up the programs, go. For VR, it's like, well, I have to change the lighting. I have to get like a different camera set up. I need to like record that, but sometimes I can't see it. I don't know if it's recording fully. Are you gonna do Sekiro in one video? I do want to do the rest of them. But I also don't want to promise things that if it doesn't happen, then people get annoyed with. What would you recommend for a Bloodborne tattoo? I really want one. Well, I really like the Hunter's Mark, which this one's way too big. I do kind of regret how big this is. I wish it was a little smaller, like this big maybe, like half the size. But I was like, first tattoo, I gotta go big. I always think that's good. I think any Carol rune that looks cool to you. Any Carol rune that looks cool or sounds cool. Because you can look up the meaning behind what that Carol rune means. And if that resonates with you, I think that would be cool. Do you want to remove any tattoos? Nah, I don't want to remove any. I just think I can fill them in a bit better and change them around. Getting any new tattoos? I do have plans for like a couple. This was the latest guy I got. I have a huge bruise on my arm because I walked into my banister. Look at that little yellow bruise. I walked into the corner of the banister for my stairs. I got this little guy from Hollow Knight. They go, wah! But I do want to fill around all of these. I was thinking about getting, because I have the Shadow of the Colossus tattoo, I was thinking of getting Phalanx. Is that number 12? The one that's like the big flying one with the egg sacs. I thought about getting that like up my arm around it. I think that would be really cool. I want to get, I like death imagery, like skulls and reapers and like shadowy creatures and shadowy monsters and like stuff where they like shadows like dripping from them kind of vibes. I like that stuff, like very berserky kind of monsters. So I want to get more stuff like that, which is the complete opposite of the Hollow Knight guy. But I just thought he was cute. I do want to get the mushrooms from Dark Souls as well. Those guys are really cute. Would you get the Berserk symbol? No, I got the Bahamut on my arm, which I really like. I didn't want to get the Brand of Sacrifice because I don't know, the scene that it's related to and what it means is like the stuff that happens around when the marks show up for the first time in the manga is kind of fucked up, so I'm like, I don't really want that. But I also, like, everybody who wants a Berserk tattoo usually gets it, and I was like, I don't really want to have the same thing that everybody has. So I just got this instead, because I'm like, this is like the precursor of it. The Bahamut is technically, like, what happens with the Bahamut in the manga is fucking awful. And it drives the characters forward, drives some of them backwards, it's hard to quantify that scene, because if you see it in isolation, it's kind of like, people read this and think it's okay, but in the context of the greater story, somehow it makes sense. I don't know, Berserk's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how valid it is to have certain things in it. Like, it kind of feels like any female that shows up in Berserk just ends up with her tits out at some point. And sometimes it got a bit too indulgent with that, where I was like, I don't know about that. But the Bahamut, in terms of like the manga, is kind of like your dreams come true, but it's just kind of like a negative thing. Like, it's like, what happens in the manga is like, well, the dream that you want actually is really fucked up. But I like to think about it as like possibility. That like, maybe a Bahamut can only be used for evil, but what if you could use it for something good? I don't know. It's also just something cool to look at that I think gets people talking, and it doesn't have to, like, if you don't know Berserk, it just still looks cool. Berserk is weird though, because it is, I think the balance of the nudity is just like a bit off. Maybe that's part of the problem. But it is like Berserk just deals with the most depraved elements of humanity and how fucked up humans can be, and like the depths of despair, and basically, I mean, literally bringing like hell to earth. So, like, it does make sense, but it's a weird one. Would you ever get a Last of Us tattoo? Nah. I don't think Last of Us really matters enough to me. I do have the Arrival tattoo, which I liked the idea of because it means like journey or walk. And I like the idea that it was disconnected, that like all of our journeys end at some point, that we're not infinite creatures. And this could be like the circle of life, and it gets a bit messy here and there towards the end, or maybe the start, and the end is easier. Like life gets easier as it goes on, ideally. I like that idea, but it's also an Arrival tattoo where I'm like, I think it looks cool, but it's also like Arrival doesn't mean a huge amount to me. So, and the rest of the tattoos I have do. So, like I got this light bulb for my dad because he worked at an electrical company, and I thought about doing something with like an electrical cable, maybe getting his initials, something like that. But I like stuff that just has like multiple meanings, where it's just like, hey, my bicep has a good idea. But it also, like, for me it means my dad, but to other people it's like, oh, light bulb tattoo is a cool idea. I like stuff like that kind of has like multiple meanings. Or like, you don't have to know the source material or why it exists. But I also think maybe I'm just overthinking my tattoos a little bit. How are you lately, truly? This week for some reason I've been a lot more anxious. I don't know why. I just wake up some days and then I get that like heart palpitating, like heart beating hard, being very aware of your heartbeat and your breathing, and just being kind of like shallow breath kind of feeling, and I can't really like pinpoint why that is. I mean, I just have generalized anxiety anyway, but it's one of those things where it's like, now I just kind of like live with my anxieties and I know how to deal with them, and it doesn't like ruin my day. So it's one of those things where I'm like, it's not that big a deal now because it'll pass eventually and whatever. It's like my brain making up issues that don't actually exist. It's so weird. It's like, my life is pretty fucking great when you think about it. I play video games for my job. I have an audience full of people that I can talk to who are willing to like support you in a lot of stuff you do. I have all the time in the world to do the things I want to do. I'm in a great relationship. But then it's like your brain just finds things to freak out about. Like, stuff is technically amazing, and I'm trying to be more present in that. And like, we got a pergola installed in our house, which is like just an outdoor thing with a roof that you can pull down screens on to block out the wind and the sun and the rain. And it was raining one day and I was like, I'm gonna go out in that. I'm gonna close the roof on it and just listen to the pitter patter of the rain. And that was like really calming. And I've been enjoying doing that kind of stuff lately, like really being more present in the moment and just like being with myself. And like not trying to fill my time with other things. And it was really cozy. I like that. But overall, I'm doing great. Any advice to overcome that? Usually it's just trying to not let it defeat me. Trying to not let it, like I've struggled with that stuff my whole life now that I'm on medication for stuff, and I got like an ADHD diagnosis, and like multiple medical professionals I've been to. I haven't been like fully tested or anything yet, but they're like, yeah, it feels like your ADHD borders on like autistic traits as well. Knowing that I'm diagnosed, anxious, depressed, like all those things that I kind of like worried about for myself for a while and didn't really know and didn't have concrete answers on. Like, getting clarity on that helped a lot. Being in therapy now for the last year, 2 years. I really love my therapist. She's great. And she helped me work through a lot of things, helped me like remove a lot of the toxicity that was in my life this year. She was the one that like taught me the term of like authentic self and trying to get to a more naturalized version of yourself and like living for yourself and not other people and things like that. I've just been working a lot on myself, and it was a thing that I realized when I started YouTube. I was very depressed and lonely and living in a cabin and I had no friends. So when you start YouTube, it's like, I want people to like listen to me, and like I want friends, and I need not really attention, but it's like you're trying to fill a gap. You're trying to fill that social gap in your life. And I think that's what I was doing. And in the beginning, it's great. And like parasocially 50-50, we're going back and forth. Like the audience depend on me, I depend on the audience. And it's great. And that goes on for so long that I feel now I've filled some of the gaps in my life healthily and positively. And I feel like I've healed a lot of the wounds that a lack of structure and a lack of love in my family led to, that now I don't depend on external factors as much as I used to. And I think that that's helped me kind of get to a better place with my career and my work, not being so kind of like anxious about not doing things, not being worried about being like the most relevant you can ever be, not trying to like, you know, I feel more at peace with myself. And that's still something that I'm like saying out loud, but I'm like, God, I have so much further to go. I have so much fucking shit to work through. There's a lot of stuff in like there's a lot of familial stuff that I've been working through that I wasn't aware of. I never realized how toxic and traumatic my upbringing was. Because I was like, oh, I had a great life. I went outside all the time. I played video games. I ran through the fields. I had a lot of friends when I was a kid. And I was like, that's cool. I had a great time. And then you go to therapy and it's like you start talking about your family and it's like, oh, yeah, like, yeah, there's a lot of alcoholism in my family, a lot of abuse, a lot of like throwing chairs through windows. And I'm like, ah, but people go through that. Like everybody has a bit of roughness here and there. My therapist is like, nope, that's not true. So I was kind of like explaining away my own trauma. And now I'm like fully aware of it and I'm working through that, so. Chairs through windows, oh brother, it gets so much worse. There are so many other things that, and I don't mind talking about it. It's not something that's like a sore point for me to be like, no, I can't bring it up because it triggers me. Because that's the whole point of going to therapy, is to try and be okay with it and not have it sort of like dictate who I am anymore. But it's also like, I feel like my family has changed a lot since then, and even though we'll never be like a perfect family, it's also like if I talk about this stuff, they're not really here to tell their side of stuff. There's a lot of addiction in my family, and a lot of them have worked really hard to get past that and work through it, and they're not really the people they were back then, so it's just something that's also like, I don't really think the public needs to know about that stuff. But it's also like, I didn't realize how rough my childhood actually was when I thought about it in hindsight. And then you open up all those wounds that I've just scabbed over, and you're like, oh, fuck. Like I would leave therapy some days and I'd just be fucking miserable because I uncovered something that I didn't realize about myself. And like my interplay with like male role models in my life, because I didn't really grow up with any. So I kind of attach myself to people that I think are cool and look up to. And then a lot of times people let me down, and then it's like, oh shit, I attached myself to the wrong person because I just got that like hyperfixation kind of thing. Yeah. It's one of those things that like so many people are probably going through all the time and you don't realize it. So that's why I'm like, maybe don't build people up into impossible standards, because a lot of them are probably going through stuff that makes them a lot less cool and heroic than you think. Like that pedestal that you're putting them on is made out of wet paper. But yeah, it feels good to like go through it. It feels good to work through stuff positively, and I've made like massive strides with my therapist where a certain thing will happen online or in my work or something, and usually it would have like completely debilitated me for a day or a week, and now I'm kind of like, oh man, that sucks, and the anxiety kind of builds, and a couple hours later it's gone. I'm like, huh, I got better. Everyone is human and everyone has problems, yep. As I always say, all God's children. I don't know where that comes from. I heard it in some movie or something one time, and I was saying, anytime something goes wrong with people, or they're talking about, I don't know, they're talking about themselves like that, and I'm like, no, all beautiful, all God's children. Are you Catholic? No. I'm just saying it as a term. I was until I was like 12, and then came to my own awakening of stuff. But my family was all very religious growing up, and like my mother will still go to church, and my granny was very religious, and she got a lot of peace and meditation, and like her being connected to her spirituality meant a lot to her, so you do you. So your figure painting video inspired me to try it out. I'm so glad that people like that video. It was cool to be able to like, not just show them off, like it's fun to be able to show them off and that, but I liked seeing, I hadn't sat down to just go through what I had done and like see the progress, and I kept saying like, oh, I've been doing this for a year and it's cool to see like my progress, or I've been doing it for 2 years and it's cool to see my progress. And then I went back through it and I was like, I've only been doing it for a year. And I was like really proud of the progress I had made in that year. But it's also like, I'm also very lucky that I can kind of like afford the time and the products to try new things out, because I don't play any games with them. I don't like take them to board to play any Warhammer or anything like that. So I just paint, but I'm also able to like get the things I want to try new techniques all the time. Will you make a channel for it? No. Because then it becomes a part of my work. It becomes part of like the broader version of me. And I started doing it because I wanted something for me to like get me out of my own head, teach me some patience. So it's like, I'll show off what I've done, but I'm never gonna do a video doing the process of what I'm doing. It keeps my passion for it alive. Do you paint anything else? No. I thought about maybe getting some. We're renovating a bathroom here to not be a bathroom because we don't need it, and we're turning it into kind of like an art room. And I was like, maybe I'll get some like canvases and easels and stuff, and maybe paint some things. But I have a lot of paint supplies taking up space already, and I don't really want to buy more stuff just to take up more space. Jack doesn't shit, confirmed. Don't need bathrooms. Outside's right there. I live in Brighton. Ocean's right there. Will you play Garden of Banban 7? I don't know, guys. I feel like those games have run their course. I think at this point it's kind of taken the piss. And I could play it, and I could make fun of it, and I could do that kind of like, I could do that version of a video, but I also don't want to just shit on something. Like, as bad as those games may be, it's still like some people are making them and they want to make them and they're doing a thing, and I don't really want to put that energy out where I'm just like, this thing fucking sucks. Look how stupid this is, and just pointing and making fun of shit all the time. Like, there has to be some sort of balance to it. It's fine to point out criticisms and say that it's not good and not like it and maybe poke fun here and there, but if that's all I'm doing, then I don't want to do that. And I feel like there's nothing to like keep me playing them. Maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, I don't know. At some point, you're just beating a dead horse, right? Ever thought about changing my profile picture? I mean, I have, but only because of like seeing the same thing over and over again. It's like, maybe change it, but I shouldn't and don't want to. Any new Chilla's Art games? I don't think they have a new one out yet. They're redoing the bathhouse. They're remastering that one, which is cool because I like it. That one didn't really vibe with me a lot when I played it, but I'm also like I don't want to play that one again. Like, you can remaster it unless it's completely different. I feel like they're just going to fix a couple of things here and there, but maybe. I don't know why that's the one they're redoing. I don't know what about it they didn't like or they feel like they can change. So maybe it'll be a completely different vibe. What are you playing in your free time? Evelyn and I have been going through, we went through Elden Ring again after she finished the DLC. Both of us went through it and did the DLC. Then we played Bloodborne again together, and now we're doing Dark Souls 1 together. What else did I play? I started playing Dante's Inferno, which is a game from like, God, is it like 2010? Yeah, 2010. It's made by Visceral, the people who made Dead Space, and it came out to be like EA's answer to God of War, like God of War 3, and I mean, it plays incredibly similar. Even the pacing of the game feels the exact same, but I'm having fun with it. It's kind of dumb, but I really like the sort of overarching aesthetic of it all, like the idea of going into hell and what the monsters look like and going through the poem of Dante's Inferno. Because I had the book for Dante's Inferno. Is it just a collection of Inferno, Dante, by Dante Alighieri? Is the first part of Italian writer Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy. That's it. But is the whole thing just poetry? Or is it like an actual narrative? I mean, I know it's a narrative, but you know what I mean. So it's kind of like a narrative stitched together through poetry. Got it. I think I like the idea of it. I think I'd rather watch like a video essay on it rather than, like, I got the book and I skimmed through it and I was like, it's not, like, I'm not going to pay attention to this. It's not my style. Wendigoon did a good video on it. Ooh. Wendigoon Blood Meridian was the first thing that showed up. That's cool. Dante's Inferno and the 9 levels of hell explained.
Hello everybody, today I'm going to tell you about the story of Dante.
Cool, I'll watch that later. There's some stuff like that where, like, I want to know more. I've been really into wanting to know more about, like, different religious backgrounds. We watched The Prince of Egypt yesterday because I'd never seen the full movie. And I was like, I kind of want to learn more about, like, Egyptian mythology. I want to learn more about Norse mythology. I want to know more about Catholic Christian mythology. Like, not the, like, the Bible or anything, but just like the bigger stories. And seeing how all these things kind of like interplay and interconnect, and like Greek mythology, Roman stuff. Yeah, Prince of Egypt was cool. I had seen like the ending to it before, and I probably saw it as a kid, but just didn't remember it. Because I also think a lot of the fantasy stuff that I take in, like a lot of FromSoft stuff, is pulling from a lot of like Elden Ring has a lot of Celtic mythology in it, and Norse stuff, and Berserk has a lot of it in it. Like a lot of stuff I consume have bases in real world. Like some of the stuff in Dune. Dune's a very heavily religious book. Like I like seeing where the inspirations for these things come from. Dark Souls 2 has some Celtic Norse stuff. I mean, they all do. Elden Ring's just like on the top of my brain. And it definitely has probably the most amount of like Irish Celtic references in it. A lot of Welsh stuff in Elden Ring as well. Do you prefer dark fantasy or high fantasy? Dark fantasy for sure. I realized I was looking up stuff like best fantasy books, best fantasy movies, best fantasy games. I was trying to like find stuff to play and do and just consume. I've been in a huge fantasy mood this year. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's dark fantasy I like, not necessarily just fantasy in general. Ever read Red Rising? No, but it's on my list. Whether I read it or not, I don't know. There was another one, people... What was it? The Spear That Cuts Through Water? Is that the name of it? I've been on a book talk has taught me that that's like the best book ever, apparently. So there's a bunch of them that I need to get to, but I'll take my time and read whatever I want to read. Way of Kings you enjoyed? Absolutely. Way of Kings is my favorite Stormlight book. I know a lot of people prefer Words of Radiance, and Words of Radiance is phenomenal, but I think Way of Kings hits me a lot because Kaladin's my favorite character, and most of that book is him. And then I just like learning worlds. I like Fellowship of the Ring is my favorite Lord of the Rings movie. Like I like when you're learning the world. I like when you're learning the characters. I like when you're learning the magic. I like seeing the magic like come back elements in it. Like it all starts at the first book. It always starts at the first thing. Like out of Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, Dark Souls 1 is my favorite one. Even though they're not as connected really as like a Stormlight is. Like it's not a continuous story. I mean it is, but you know what I mean. But Dark Souls 1 is just, the first one always feels cozy to me. Put it that way. Book talk terrifies me. As it should. They'll tell you your opinions are terrible. They'll all like the books that all have the highest ratings anyway. Everyone will just all agree that certain books are the best. And if someone doesn't, then they're the outlier and everyone comes down super hard on them and they suck. They'll tell you to read 500 books a year. They'll all have wildly different recommendations. Everybody's right, but everyone's also wrong. It's just, I mean, that's just human nature, I guess, but I go through it and I'm like, yeah, I agree with this. And it's like, yeah, because you were going to agree with it. It's confirmation bias. What the fuck did you expect? And then somebody says they didn't like Way of Kings, and I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I'm like, yeah, of course you're not going to like that because you like the book, idiot. Idiot's a bit harsh, but sometimes you got to be harsh with yourself. Which specific mythology do you think is not as much like the others? Oh. I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of them. Most mythologies are borrowing from like Norse and ancient Egyptian. A lot of stuff, like you'll read some stuff like that, and then you'll see some other things. You're like, this is really similar. I don't know. Reincarnation ones are kind of different. That's true. I don't really know anything about reincarnation religions and mythologies. I wonder what the first mythology is. What's the oldest one? What's the one that's so many? Because Norse is like really old, isn't it? What's the one that has basically like inspired all the other ones? Sumerian? Mesopotamia? A lot of Sumerian. I don't know what Sumerian is. I searched Sumerian and Summer came up, which makes sense. Oh, Sumer, not Summer. Can't fucking read. It's the earliest known civilization located in the historical region of southern Mesopotamia, emerging from or during the Chalcolithic? Chalcolithic? I don't know. Early Bronze Ages between the 6th and 5th millennium. 5500 BC. That's pretty old. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is such a fucking cool word. I love Gilgamesh in Final Fantasy. Became the hero par excellence of the ancient world. An adventurous, brave, but tragic figure symbolizing man's vain but endless drive for fame, glory, and immortality. Isn't it fucking wild that it's all the same shit? Like, you go all the way back, reading the meditations by... I was gonna say Brandon Sanderson. By Marcus Aurelius. How to Think Like a Roman Emperor, all that stuff. Like, you hear them talk about stuff. This is fucking so long ago. And they're figuring out like the stuff that you learn in therapy. They're all figuring out like cognitive behavioral therapy. All the things that we learn now for inner peace and joy and everything. They figured it out thousands of years ago. And we're still trying to figure it out. And they had a much different civilization back then. They didn't even know that many people. Like now we know everybody. You go on the internet, everybody knows everybody. It's so weird. We're not supposed to know this many people. We're not supposed to have a tribe of this many people around us. But all the lessons from it all still kind of matters, and it's the same. The more things change, the less they do. Wow. That shit is deep. I saw today, I don't know how long ago this was, but somebody had tweeted, "War never changes. Can you guess which game I'm replaying?" And then Elon Musk replied to it, "Every time they said that in the game, I kept thinking, but war does change." Like, oh my god, your media literacy is literally the level of like a fucking bucket of sand. It's like, that's the point. It constantly changes, but the overarching element of it all doesn't fucking change. I can't believe someone can tweet that and be like, I'm smart. I get it. Jack, what is you that are, where is your that's you? Somebody might need to check in on them, because I think something happened and they fell on their keyboard. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what you're saying. A cat typed that out. Hey, if a cat typed it out, then it's prophetic. Do you like mascot indie horror games? Some of them are okay. I think a lot of time people are like, oh, another mascot horror game, and then they don't judge it on its merits. They just judge it being like, oh, this is bad because now there's too many of them. Like some of them, Evelien said Indigo Park was good. That's a newer one. And I think it was made by a YouTuber or a streamer. So I kind of want to check that one out. What would you do if when you okay so he said yes would go? Chris, first of all, long time no see. Second of all, shut the fuck up. I don't know what you're talking about. Stop it. I have a hard enough time like reading some stuff sometimes and I'm like, do I not just get, am I having a stroke? Am I not getting what's being put down here for me? You a fan of fighting games? I want to be. I want to be good at fighting games, but I don't have the patience to learn any of them. There's too many mechanics. I got Tekken 8 when it came out. I played through the story and then I never played it again. But it's cool seeing people like Lily's been playing it a lot and getting really good, and she beat the guy who made Tekken recently. And that shit's cool. Like, I love watching it. I think it's so hype. And Tekken was like the first fighting game I played. I got Demo 1 with my PS1 and played Tekken 3. It was just a demo of it and I played it non-stop. My favorite guy was Hwoarang. Ah, what a fucking guy. He was so sick. I still think Tekken 3 is his best outfit. But he was fun to play as again in Tekken 8. Even though, my god, the ending of that game just went on and on and on. Jin and Kazuya fighting each other over and over again. I was like, okay, I get it. You guys hate each other. You know, maybe just talk. But no, punch. Punch over and over again. Punch until no punch no more. But I saw Heihachi is coming back. Didn't they announce that he's like a character coming back? Which I don't understand. Isn't he dead? I don't get Tekken. But I think I like Tekken because I grew up with Tekken and Mortal Kombat. Because I grew up in Mortal Kombat. But I think I like the aesthetics of them and some of the characters. I'm not sure if I genuinely like playing them. Tekken has lore? Oh, Tekken has one of the longest running lores in all of media, apparently. I think it has a Guinness World Record for the longest continuous story of anything. Ah, Soul Calibur. You guys ever see that first intro to Soul Calibur? Soul Calibur 1? Is it actually any good now? Is this it? This isn't the one. What's the one I'm thinking of? It has like the fucking kick-ass doo-doo-doo, boo-boo-doo-doo-boo-doo-doo. How's that music? Oh! This is it! I found it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, now I disappeared. Haha, I'm back. This might be too loud. I don't know.
Transcending history and the world, a tale of soul and swords.
Eternally be told. Here it comes! Mitsurugi! This shit rules! I can't see chat, so I don't know if this is even working. You guys might be not watching anything. Oh, scary. God, so PS1. Oh, I miss those swords. They're so cool. I don't remember this part of it. Why does it have a sexy breakdown? Why is she naked? Why is there like a sexy female character breakdown and they have to get their tits out? What's happening? Oh, hold on, guys. The men are back. The men are back and the music has changed. Why is she naked? That's okay. We're back. I forgot it was called Soul Edge. Dude, I love to edge. That fucking ruled. There was so much going on in that fucking video. That was so old. Oh my god. That was awesome. I love that intro. I always said that was one of my favorite intros to any game ever. And I don't... What's the best intro to a game? Hold on, we need music back. Because you see that trailer, that plays at the start of the game. I don't need to see TNA to like you've sold me on the game. I have it. Because the best opening to a game, like gameplay section, the best like start intro to a game ever is God of War 3, and it's not debatable. The pacing to that intro is the greatest thing of all time. I don't fucking care what games you guys like. That's not why we're here. I'm the one with the microphone. Soul Reaver? Yes. Yes. Unironically, I can't believe I didn't think about that, because that is literally... I was listening to the intro to this over and over and over again last week. Like, I literally put the song on repeat. Not the intro to the game, but the song that plays in the intro to the game. This is 3.5 minutes. You guys are going to have to bear with me. Wait, hold on. Now I can actually get chat over here so I can see you guys as it's happening. The intro to Soul Reaver, I think... is absolutely my favorite intro. Okay, this is 4K remastered kind of stuff, so it's kind of like AI upscaled. I'm sorry. It does make it a little clearer to see. It doesn't matter. It's not why we're here.
Cain is deified. The clans tell tales of him. Few know the truth. He was mortal once.
As were we all.
However, his contempt for humanity drove him to create me and my brethren. I am Raziel, firstborn of his lieutenants. I stood
this
with
music
Cain
is
and my brethren
incredible.
at the dawn of the Empire. I have served him a millennium. Over time, we became less human and more divine. Cain
This intro is like burned into my brain.
and emerge with a new gift. Some years after the Master, our evolution would follow. Until I had the honor of surpassing my lord.
I don't even know what you would call this music. Why are they also cunty slay? They're serving it for sure. Because they're vampires. If vampires aren't serving cunt, then they're not vampires.
For my transgression, I earned a new kind of reward.
Agony.
Agony.
Oh, sucks to be you.
There was only one possible outcome. My eternal damnation.
Cast him in.
Razio, was to suffer the fate of traitors and weaklings, and burn forever in the bowels of the lake of the dead. Cast him in.
So cool.
Tumbling, burning with white-hot fire, I plunged into the depths of the abyss. Unspeakable pain, relentless agony. Time ceased to exist. Only this torture and a deepening hatred of the hypocrisy that damned me to this hell.
I also think that Raziel has probably one of the coolest video game character designs ever.
An eternity passed, and my torment receded, bringing me back from the precipice of madness. The descent had destroyed me, and yet I lived.
Ah, piss off. That intro, yeah, you're right, Archive. That's the best intro ever. Nothing tops that. Hineki. I so wish Soul Reaver would come back, because it's one of those games that I know his waist is so snatched. I know it sounds very hyperbolic to say that it's like, oh, the greatest intro, the greatest character design, but I mean it. I think it has the greatest writing in any game ever as well. It's so Shakespearean. If you're interested, go watch some of the Soul Reaver cutscenes. The interplay between Kain and Raziel all the time. The way they speak is so cool, and the voice actors are so incredible. And I wish it would come back in some regard, because the gameplay for these games is so shit. They're really hard to go back and play now, because they're really clunky. They were trying to do a lot of things back in the day that, even then it was kind of clunky. I remember playing Soul Reaver 1, and it was like, it's not on Steam? It should be. I own it on Steam. I think the original Legacy of Kain's the Blood Omens. I think you can get 1 on Steam, I think 2, and then Blood Omen 1 you can get on GOG. Do we know Evan? Yeah, I have Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and Soul Reaver 2. Have they been delisted? Oh! Legacy of Kain is no longer available on the Steam store page. Crystal Dynamics has temporarily removed this item from sale to work on some important updates. Updates? Oh? Probably just something like licensing changed for certain things, or people's rights ran out for something and they have to change it. Maybe it's even just credits have to change. But I would love a remake of Soul Reaver. I would love anything Soul Reaver. I would love like an animated TV show of Soul Reaver, because I think it really deserves more people to, like, I wouldn't even really change much. I would have, I think 2 of the main voice actors, Kain and Raziel, are still alive. Tony J died. He was the one that said, "You are worthy," at the end. But a lot of you, if you've watched Hunchback of Notre Dame, he's the Carl Frollo. The guy who does his voice is the Elder God, and he sadly passed away. He's one of the greatest voices. It would be so cool to get some sort of animated version of that, like the Castlevania series that came out. I feel like that dark fantasy version of Soul Reaver would be so cool to see, get the original voice actors back. I would love to see Amy Hennig come back and write for that show. She wrote most of Soul Reaver 1 and 2, I think. And then she went on to write for Uncharted. And then she is now writing for Marvel. I think they're doing like a Captain America game. And I'm like, Amy, your writing abilities are wasted on that. I'm sure you're getting quite a paycheck and good for you, but I would love to see Amy Hennig come back and write something Soul Reaver for anything. It is Tony J in Tony J. He was Khal Frollo, right? He was definitely the Elder God. Yeah, Judge Claude Frollo. I didn't think it was Carol Frollo or something. Yeah. Like fire, hellfire. It's my favorite Disney movie. My favorite Disney song as well. You don't see a Disney movie like that anymore. I mean, he was in a bunch of stuff. But those were like the two I knew him from. Hate Frollo as a character? I mean, you're supposed to. He's a bad man. He wants to kill people just because he's horny. He wants to have sex with someone and then is like, no, I'm not allowed. My religion doesn't allow it. And I must be pure. But if I can't have her, no one can. Bye. You're gonna die now. Cherry the Pitbull, thanks for the raid. See Studio Eclipse Berserk coming next year. Yeah, I didn't know what was happening with it because I saw that it was announced and I was like, oh cool, some studio is doing it. And then people were saying it's like a fan-made thing through a studio. So it's like a bunch of different people, a bunch of different art styles, a bunch of different stuff coming together. I'm kind of confused about it. But I'll take anything Berserk. Good, bad, indifferent. I even like the bad versions of Berserk. You played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? I tried. I played Remake at one point and I liked it enough, but I never finished it because it was just too much. And then I started playing Rebirth and that was even worse. I got so burnt out so fast. There's just too much shit to play. And there's too much filler. There's too much... Like, as soon as I started the game and I had to grab a vacuum to suck up, like, Mako, and I was like, you know, I can see where this is going and I don't like it. Are you still bored? No. Having a great time. It's wonderful here. It's been a while. It's nice to kind of like sit and chat again. I feel like it's been a really long time. What's the last new game you enjoyed? I guess the Elden Ring DLC. But that's it's a DLC, so it's not really like a new game. Games of 2024. I always forget what has come out. Dragon's Dogma 2 I liked. Even though it's a mess. Like, it runs poorly. Some of the structure of it and the mechanics are a bit all over. Like, I don't like the fast traveling system in that game. There's a bit too many enemies everywhere. But overall I liked it. Again, because I like fantasy stuff and I like the world in that. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I had a blast playing. What else did I play this year? I played Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I finished that. That was... whatever. Hades 2 I was enjoying. I played a bunch of that in the early access version. And then I was like, I got as far as I wanted to, and I was like, I'll leave the rest now until the full version's out. Balatro is really fun. The poker game. Yeah, that's kind of it. Tekken 8. I don't really know what else came out that I played. Yeah, I'm interested to see what Silent Hill 2 is going to be like, the remake of it. I'm not too big a fan of Bloober Games stuff. Like, the Layers of Fear games were fine, but they're not... Like, I don't really want to go back and play them. I'm excited for Black Myth Wukong. I think that'll be cool. Oh yeah, Helldivers 2 was this year. Remember that? Remember Helldivers? And then it came out and Sony fucked it up and now no one's playing it anymore. Guy mentioned you like cooking. I love cooking. It's one of my favorite things to do. Which is weird because I don't really know, like I don't really have a dish that I'm like, let me whip you up my special Alfredo or whatever. Like I don't have a thing like that. I like making lasagna, but Italian food is, like it's very obvious when you make inauthentic Italian food. So I would never really hype it up. I think I make decent food. How do you like your steak? I used to like it medium rare, but sometimes it comes out a little too rare. So most times now I get it medium, which most kitchens will cook kind of what I expect a medium rare to be. Like sometimes medium rare is a little too rare. I don't know what my favorite thing to make is. I think I just like making good pasta, good spaghetti. I make a decent bolognese. Do I bake? No. Gab seems to love your food and that's all that matters. Yeah, I'm able to cook. I cook very good ADHD food. Where like it's not gonna win any awards, but it's just like the textures are perfect and the flavors are good and like it's just good, like you don't have to think about it kind of food. I've ever played Lethal Company? No. I think I tried it like once with Evelien in our spare time and that was kind of it. How's BB's diabetes? It's good. He got to a point where we tried a different medication that was just like a liquid you would put through his food. And then whatever high glucose he would have, it would just make him pee it out. So it was going really well and he was staying more stable than he ever had. Like his glucose would stay in the perfect zone all the time. But then he started getting ketones in his blood, which is bad. It means that his body's not reacting well to it. So he got close to like an emergency and we were testing his pee with like ketone strips at home. And then he had to go to the vet and he had to stay there and he went through it again. But changing medications is always scary for him. So now he's just back on insulin again. Like twice a day. So they said that the other way was going to be nice because you didn't have to, it didn't really matter how much you gave him, or it wasn't as strict as insulin. But now the insulin is like, we have to really make sure that we're giving it to him at the right times, the right doses. And it just sucks to have to like inject him and like stick a needle in him every day, twice a day. And he's really good about it, but it's one of those things that I can tell it's like stressing Evelien out a lot, because she like, it's something to monitor all the time. It's something that he can go up and down. It's something to like, he has little diabetes tags on him that look like little air tags. Anybody who's diabetic knows, you like the Freestyle Libra, stick them on the back of your arm or something. We stick them on him, and then he starts biting them off, or he starts scratching them off, and then it's hard to like keep him good. But they also said that he'll probably never recover from his diabetes now. There's always like a small chance, but it seems like his body just doesn't it doesn't produce insulin anymore. So he'll just be on insulin and injections for the rest of his life. Which sucks, but Evelien's doing her best, and I don't think she's actually doing better than most people would do with stuff like that. A lot of people let their cat's diabetes get out of control, and then the cats end up dying or having to go to the vet, or some people have to put their pets down because they can't afford the insulin. And I think we're very lucky in the way we are that we can afford his insulin, and we can monitor him a lot, and we are home a lot, and we work from home, and so it's going as good as it can. And Evelien's doing her best every day, so can't really ask for more. If anything goes wrong with it, it's not going to be through our fault. It's just part of his illness. How do you feel about Ludwig stealing your poster? I talked about it at the start of the stream. I don't mind. I'm glad he has it. I'll go to his house someday and see it in person. I love Ludwig. Ludwig's great. Ludwig's very funny. Him and I get along very well, and we have very similar senses of humor whenever we've done stuff together, so I think he's great. Oh, my running shoes have shipped. You know how you get a new pair of running shoes and you're like, yes, can't wait. I'll use them twice and that'll be it. Would you ever get along with Jerma? I said this in the podcast episode that isn't going out yet, so I'm just repeating myself, but I said to Ethan that I think Jerma is probably the best gaming content Let's Player that's ever graced any of these platforms. I think Jerma's probably the best version of what any of us do as a creator. Because not only does he play so many different types of games, he plays what he wants. He plays it his own way. He doesn't really like let chat dictate what he's gonna do. Chat just love anything that he does. They make so many memes out of him. They're so connected to him. They're so like they're like a cult in all the best ways. You know what I mean? Like they're so engaged with what he's doing. He doesn't have like the biggest audience of all time, which maybe it is good. Maybe that's what's kept it so cozy and homegrown and feeling so fresh. But he also does big events. He does like weird shit that's so quintessentially him that I don't think you'll ever get somebody who does this job the same way he has done it. And it is kind of sad that he said that he's basically retired, but he's still going to be doing stuff. But I feel like I didn't get into Jerma until like, I didn't even really know about him until like way later. And I kind of wish I watched more of him as I was up and coming, because I feel like we would have connected quite strongly. Like we've chatted a couple of times and met each other and know who each other is, but I feel like Jerma and I would be really good friends if we lived closer towards one another. Because I feel like a lot of the stuff he does, I find just hits my funny bone exactly. And I think he's just an incredible content creator. But he's still doing stuff. Like he still puts on events and things like that. But I would love to work with him on something, somehow. Because he's also one of those creators that, like, he doesn't go the most viral out of anybody, which I think he should have. I think he should have been a much bigger name than, like, me in the space. Like, I feel like he should have had more subscribers than any of us because he was just so good at it, but I think he likes not having that amount. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just putting words in his mouth, but I think that sort of cult status that he has is why he's so popular. And you always see like memes of him go around all the time because his audience are just so like they put references to him everywhere, even where you think he wouldn't show up. And I think that's cool. He's more Twitch centric. I mean, yeah, he's much more stream focused. But, I mean, if you want a good evening, you can just look up Jerma clips and you'll have a great time. I think what's funny is that he embodies like a version of doing this job the way I wish I could stick to. Because I'm a much more sensitive person that if people say they don't like a certain thing, I'll probably shift and morph and change without even thinking that I'm doing it. Because I just want to make sure everybody's having a good time, but that sometimes I feel like I'm not doing things the way I want to do it. Because, oh, maybe I'm being too goofy, maybe I'm joking about things too much and people want to see a bit more seriousness in certain Let's Plays, things like that. But Jerma doesn't do that. He just does what he wants to do, and I think that that's very inspiring. Would I play Outlast Trials? No, I would play a new Outlast if they did it. I really liked the second Outlast game. I know a lot of people didn't really like it from the first one. People like the asylum and the vibe of that one, but I really like, maybe I just had a good time playing it for YouTube. Maybe I wouldn't like it if I played it now. But I liked the sort of like cornfield and the using the camera to like see where people are. I think they have a good system for a third game. I wish they would make another single player one instead of just doing multiplayer. Jerma doesn't care about his audience's feeling, that's what you're saying? Yep. He hates them even. I heard he actually hates his audience. And honestly, we were watching a video the other night about Jerma, like just some clips. It just auto-played next, and I was like, oh yeah, that's fun. Me and Evelien were watching it, and I was like, that's why I streamed today, because I was like, I kind of want to stream. I miss that kind of energy of like doing something with your audience and fucking around in real time. I still think about the Hitman video I did where was it the wine tasting one that I did, like the winery, the vineyard? That I did that streaming, and I had a ton of fun doing that when I was live. But again, I'm one of those people that, because I'm so sensitive to like what people are saying about me, again, people aren't meant to have this many people talking about them ever. It's great that people do, and it's great that I have an audience, and it's great that people will support the things I want to do, and I love that. I wouldn't change that. But sometimes I like if people are saying stuff about me, I'll like listen to it a bit too much. I think a lot of people in a creative space tend to do that, and that's why you'll see a lot of like artists don't have Twitter and they don't stream and things like that, because they get, I even saw like Donald Glover was talking about it recently. He said that he gets upset by what people say about him. Like, you just want to make the art and have people interpret it and not really engage. Because some people are just built for it. Some people just don't get anxious about that stuff. They don't get worried about it. Some people for better or worse, have kind of like an ego that gets them through it. They puff up their chest and they're able to like get high on themselves and everything goes great and they make good stuff. Other people are able to just do the thing they want to do and not worry about it. I grew up in a household where I was constantly trying to de-escalate stuff. So Jerma isn't egotistical. No, I didn't say that. Jerma's great. That's why I said Jerma's the idealized version. But I just, whenever people say stuff about me, I'm like, is that true? But it is something I'm getting better at, which is why I'm like streaming here now. And I'm also at a point where I'm like, man, if I'm not doing it for me, then why am I doing it? Gotta love anxiety. It's the best! Keeps me on my fucking toes, baby! Anxiety be like, ooh, what if something happened? Gotcha! Gambino album is a good one. I haven't listened to it yet, but the Nobody Gives a Fuck, that song, I can't remember, Lithonia, that was really good. I like that a lot. Thoughts on Eminem's album? I think I wanted to like it more than I did. I understand what he's trying to do with the album and the sort of satirical, like putting up the mirror aspect of it. I don't know, I think it went over a lot of people's heads. A lot of people were like, this is just corny and cringe. Like there's lines where he's like, those quadriplegic fucks and stuff like that. Like it's purposefully cringy edgy, because that's what Slim Shady sounds like in 2024. And I think a lot of people didn't get that. They just thought it was him trying to be edgy. But I think in terms of songs and beats, it was good. I liked it. Blumhouse just announced a Spawn movie? Ooh. You better not be fucking joking. If you're joking, I want to reach through the screen and kill you. I love Spawn. Ooh, King Spawn? Fuck yeah! Out of nowhere? On a fucking Monday? Is that something people knew about that has been planned for a while? Told you I wasn't kidding. You get to live for today. I remember seeing the Spawn movie, the old one, when I was younger, and even though it's all over the place, I still love that movie. Spawn has such a specific vibe to it, and you don't really see much Spawn around anymore. Do you have any advice getting your first tattoo? I want one. I have a banger idea, but can't calm my nerves about it. The what ifs are taking over. I think if you have a good idea and you want to do it, you should just do it. You're always going to come up with 1,000 reasons why you don't want to do it. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't really want to get it because I might hate it in a year or something. I don't think you will. Plus, laser removal has gotten so good that if you really, really, really hate a tattoo you can get it taken off. But getting your first tattoo is not as scary as people think it is. Like, it doesn't hurt that much, depending on where you get it. Obviously, if you get it on, like, your face or your spine or your elbow or the back of your knee or something, like, those are all going to hurt. but it's not like unbearable. Look at Evelien. Evelien got a whole back piece done. Multiple sessions, hours and hours and hours. No numbing cream, no anything. She just ballered her way through it. So I think just get it done. Let's do it. Plus, we're already at that point. I remember growing up, it was like people wouldn't be able to get jobs if they had tattoos kind of attitude. But I think all of that sort of stigma is evaporating quite a lot. Thought tattoos are permanent. I mean, in a sense they are, but laser removal can take the pigment back out of your skin. You'll always have like a little scar or a little something there. It's not going to be perfect, but... And it hurts like a bitch, I'd imagine, but it's gotten really good now where some people have gotten tattoos removed and you can't even tell that they had one in the first place. Which one of mine hurt the most? I don't know. None of them, really. I've got really easy places for all of my tattoos so far. I haven't, like, this is easy, this is easy. Forearms are all easy. I haven't really gotten it anywhere else that's not easy. And like this one, maybe if it was a bigger tattoo, probably would have hurt more. But because it's so small, it was over so quick, so... I don't know, maybe this one, because the guy who did it kind of like rushed it. He didn't rush it, he's a very fast tattoo artist, and he kind of like flew through it, so it felt like it didn't heal great, and it still has like a bit of scabbing and like bumpiness on it, so I think that one probably hurt the most. But it was so quick that it's like, what hurts more, a tattoo that takes 4 hours to get done, or one in a sore spot that takes 20 minutes? Would you ever get color tattoos? I don't really think I want any color tattoos. I like the vibe of just like sporadic kind of symbolism tattoos. Yeah, after 4 hours your adrenaline wears off, so it starts to hurt a lot. And you start getting kind of like shaky after your adrenaline runs out. Which is why I haven't done any like major big pieces. I've just done easier, quicker ones. Some parts of this one hurt a lot because the closer you get to your elbow and your wrist, really fucking hurts. And sometimes you'll get one where it's like, oh, that's easy. I can't even feel that you're doing it. And then it'll hit a specific spot that just feels like a massive spike, like a sharp, hot fire kind of spike. And you're like, what the fuck? And then it's gone. We going to LA for Thankmas this year? Yeah, I haven't announced it fully. I think October we're announcing the dates and all that kind of stuff, but it's no secret what's happening. It's going to be in December again. I think we're aiming for first weekend of December. Same venue. We're doing it live and on stream again. And I'll be selling tickets. Those will go live in October when we get stuff more settled in. We're going to do some mental health charities this year because I feel like mental health is really important in general. But this year it feels like so much stuff is going on in so many different aspects of the internet that I feel like everyone's mental health is really important, and everyone's trying to like carve out a space for themselves to be like, should I get engaged in this topic? Should I not? What should I do? I kind of want to keep my stuff not engaged because I kind of want to like keep my sanity in a way. So I think mental health in general is a good one to go after. And we already do mental health stuff with Top of the Morning. Like a percentage of our profits goes towards Crisis Text Line every time we get like our payments. What are your plans for New York Comic Con? Ooh, I'm glad you brought it up because I haven't talked about that much either. because we've been trying to work. I want to announce it, but we've been going back and forth on like what times my stuff is on, what times I'm doing things, when I'm going to be there, what days. So I do plan on doing a signing and a panel at Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. That's in October, but I don't have the dates and times yet. When I do, I'll let people know. But we're doing, it's so cool. I have a comic book now and I get to talk about it, and I get to be one of those people doing a comic book panel at Comic-Con about my comic book. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, when I know more, you guys will know more. But if you want to go, keep that weekend open. I think it is the 16th to the 19th, I think is when I'm going to New York. And I think it's probably the Thursday and Friday we're going to do stuff. But again, I don't want you to get tickets for those days and then it's like, oh, we're doing something Saturday and then you miss it. So. Oh, thanks, Slade. I can get your comic book. It's linked in the chat. Go to Bad Egg. We have 2 issues out now, issue 0 and issue 1. 4 comics, 2 for Marvin, 2 for Jackie Boy Man. And then we have a couple more. Our plan is to get them out next month. We'll start putting up pre-orders for them. But it's also like, I don't want to like rush artists and rush story, and if writing, if the writing takes a bit and the art takes a bit, I want people to like have the time to do it. So Thankmas is back in LA. Yep. Not new egg, bad egg. You have comics? Sure do. I have some of them on the floor behind me. This is one. It's cool. I like it a lot. They sent me a bunch of them. I have about 30 of them on the floor behind me, wrapped in plastic. Trying to figure out what to do with them. And that's the first batch. They sent me a second batch for issue 1s. That was like 30 comics again, so I just signed them all and sent them back to be like, let's do something with these. What am I gonna do with all these comics? I don't have like friends that live around me here that are gonna be like, hey, have a comic. So we might bring a bunch of signed ones to Comic-Con with us. I think that would be fun. My dad likes your coffee? Oh, cool. I'm glad. I'm glad that a lot of people like the coffee. A lot of people who really love coffee have tasted it and they were pleasantly surprised. I've seen other people try it out who know nothing about me, who love coffee and have, like, people's parents have tried it out, like you said, and have loved it. And that makes me really happy. I'm glad that people who are into coffee and know nothing about me like it, because that means it's good coffee. And it's one of those things that's like, I know it's good coffee. I picked it. We pick really high quality beans and that kind of stuff, but it's nice to just kind of like get confirmation of that. Got your French vanilla? I love the French vanilla. That and the Irish cream one we did. And some of them are so popular that we just bring them back because people love them and they really want to be able to get them on subscription, so it's nice. It's nice to have something that, like, it's nice to have something that you're promoting that is yours, that you own, that you're part of, that you have a hand in. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, a game's coming out, promote it at the start of a video, or like NordVPN or things like that. Like, those people are all great to work with, but it's still not, it's like, well, if I'm going to be promoting something at the start of a video, shouldn't it be my own coffee? Like, build up the thing that I love and enjoy and I'm part of and it's mine. So I want to do that a bit more. We have some stuff coming this month as well. We have, I think decaf is finally coming this month. We got it made. I know people have been asking for that a lot. I'm not sure what the tea situation is going to be, because in terms of like how much the tea sells versus how much it costs to like manufacture it and keep it in stock and things like that, like people aren't that into the tea compared to the coffee. The coffee completely outsells it, and the hot chocolate. So yeah, Call Me Chris tried the coffee and was super happy with it. Yeah, she said some really nice stuff about it. I messaged her on Instagram and got her address, and I'm sending her like a big care package of coffee stuff because it was really nice. I didn't know she did that until somebody on my Twitter pointed it out. They said that they bought it because she said nice things about it, so that was really nice of her. She was one of those people that was really surprised by it. Ever do flavored creamer or syrups? Yeah, maybe. It all comes down to the partners and how much people want to work together. Because there's some stuff like I want to make like K-cups and things like that, but like some machines that accept certain types of coffees aren't available everywhere. Like I think Keurigs are just in America. Maybe they're proliferating over here a bit more, but they're not as common. And then when you have to like get stuff from certain manufacturers, they ask for like crazy deals. They ask for like an insane amount of orders. Some people are like, oh, we need you to buy like 30,000 things and then we'll work with you. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to happen. Like, we're still a pretty small company, and I like that. I like being a smaller company right now before we figure more stuff out, and like we haven't gone to retail or anything yet. So it's just trying to find the right partners and find out what works. And I still own the company. It's still majority me. It will ideally always be majority me, but we don't have any like shareholders or anything like that yet. So I get to call the shots and do whatever I want and pick the right partners, and before we bump stuff up. Do I want to go to retail? Yeah, I think that's kind of the goal for anything like this. Direct to consumer is always really good because you cut out middle people and don't have to pay for retail costs. You don't have to have a crazy number of like if you go retail, you have to have a certain amount of stock that's in store all the time. So that would increase our costs just a huge amount. You'd have to put so much more stock. You'd have to order so much more to keep it in retail. But the hope would be that you just sell more of it. You get it out to more people. So I think that's the goal, but just to get there takes a lot of steps, and it takes quite a while to like if you want to go into retail, you have to start planning way earlier. But I think that would be cool to do. I think that's part of the plan. I'm just not really in a rush to do any of it. Because again, I'm not doing it just to make money out of it. If it made a ton of money, great. I get to do something I love and it makes a ton of money. That's what everybody wants to do. But right now I want to feel like I'm doing it right rather than just doing it. But eventually the plan is to like grow it and make it bigger and make it more available and put it in stores and get people to get more access to it. Anything gonna happen with U2s? Probably not. The last one I did with them, we had like a contract to do a certain amount of them. I feel like I did the ones that I wanted to do. I don't really feel the need to do any more of them. So right now I don't really have any plans to do anything with them. I wish I liked the taste of coffee. You might like certain coffees, but it does run the risk of, like, if you add enough sugar and syrups and milk to coffee, you'll probably get a flavor you like, but it's always tricky with like syrups and stuff, because I'm like, that tastes so good, but it's so much sugar. But I think that's kind of the beauty of coffee, that you can have it whatever way you like. I'm just a straight black coffee, maybe a latte kind of guy, cappuccino. But sometimes sugary coffee is a bit too much for me. Are you a matcha guy? Yeah, I didn't think I was, but we have matcha now. We make a strawberry and a chocolate matcha on top of the morning. Is it still up, or was that one of the limited ones we did? Should know this, Sean. It's your company. Look, we do a lot of stuff. We're very busy. But yeah, we had matcha for top of the morning. Yeah, we still have it up. That I didn't like matcha normally. I've had matcha in the past that I didn't like. And I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then we got the strawberry and the chocolate matcha and I tried it and it was fucking delicious. Like, it tastes like drinking chocolate milk. Mix it with milk, it's chocolate milk. Foam up some milk, make a matcha latte. It's delicious. The strawberry one is really good as well, but the chocolate is just chocolate milk. It's incredible. So I think matcha is kind of like the coffee as well. I feel like there's a right version of it that you can get. Yep, we have matcha. It's been fun to do. It's been fun to do the coffee stuff because it's a skill set that I don't normally use. It's like getting into a company where you hire a bunch of different people. I haven't had a company where you have like a CEO running the company, which doesn't mean they call the shots. They're just enacting my shots and they're running the business side of it. A lot of people were confused about that when we announced that we had a CEO. But it's been a fun thing to kind of like learn. It's a different wheelhouse. Does it sell in stores? Not yet. We're going to work to that eventually, if it makes sense. I love the rebrand you did. It looks so much more fun. Thank you. I mean, that was kind of the attitude of it. The original bags were good. I don't really have a problem with them. I think they were great, but they kind of looked too much like every other coffee. And they didn't match my personality that much. I think the new ones match my personality a bit more. The positivity, the goofiness, there's a bit more color in it. We were also thinking about like aisles in stores, and when you go to a coffee aisle, like all the bags tend to look the same, but if you put my bags next to them, it really stands out. Like it completely our goal was to punch a hole of sunshine into the aisle, even though we don't sell in stores, but it's still like you still want it to be attractive enough to sell in stores. So we were like, let's make something that really stands out in the middle of everything else. And I think we accomplished that very well. We need a Sunny plush. We have them. We have Sunny plushes. Again, this is why I said people are like, oh, Jack, you're too corporate. And here I am not promoting stuff nearly enough. We have a Sunny plush on the site. We have electric mixers now. We have pins, bags, mugs, hats, shirts, hoodies, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, chocolate covered beans. We do a lot of shit. Good shit. A lot of good shit. It's not shit. When did you bring in electric mixers? I think that's one of the more recent additions. I think that came in when we brought in the matcha, because something to like mix it for people. The mugs are so nice. I'm a huge fan of our clay mugs. Like we have two up right now. The Ooh La La mug is one of my favorites we've ever done. The blue one. That some of the other ones were a bit taller. This one was like wider. And it looks more like a traditional mug, and like we have it at home here now, and it's one of my favorite mugs we've ever done. I love how it looks, and it's so hefty. Those ones are beautiful. You gonna ever sell gag mugs like cunt or bitch mug? I know I had those before as a joke, like on stream and whatever. but I don't think that sort of fits in with the rest of the business. When you have like, oh, sunny, positivity, and then you just have cunt written in the middle of your store, it's not gonna go well. I can do whatever I want, but there's some things that maybe I shouldn't do because it just clashes too much. Why didn't you play Last of Us DLC? The second game? Because it was just like a wave defense mode. If they did like a story one, I would have done it. But the DLC, I'm assuming that's what you mean. Oh, maybe I didn't play the first DLC, the Left Behind. I thought about going back and playing the whole first game again when the TV show was coming out. I think I just was going to do it and then I didn't have the time to do it. Because the only version of The Last of Us 1 that I have is like the 2013 PS3 like baby Jacksepticeye one. So I think it would be good to play the original again. And I don't know, I think I played the DLC for that on my channel, but again, it's so old. Would you ever go back to the PS3 days? Absolutely not. Anything that I feel like is worth playing on the PS3 has been re-released in better versions on different platforms, and the PS3 itself is such a slow, clunky machine. Like, I booted it up to play something because I bought a backwards compatible PS3 that goes back to like PS2 games and things like that. The original PS3s could do that, so I have that, and I'm like, I hate that menu for the PS3. I also don't like the controller. Now that we've had the PS4 and the PS5 controllers, you go back to the PS1, 2, and 3 controllers, you're like, what is this? It's like a tiny little flimsy thing. Have you ever heard about Until Then? No. It's a game? I have not. It has 10 out of 10 on Steam, damn. 1,400 reviews? Oh, it came out recently. What is it? Fateful meeting sets off a chain reaction upending Mark's life. People disappear and memories prove unreliable. Uncover a hidden truth with Mark and his friends in his narrative adventure and race to unravel the mystery before it's too late. Doesn't really feel like anything I would want to play right now. I'm sure it's good, but I don't know, looking at it isn't really like, it doesn't spark joy for me. You know, No Man's Sky is way better now. I saw. It's kind of crazy the turnaround that game has had. Like, so many people play it now and so many people love it, and I can't believe it's so successful after being so bad for that long. I'm glad they got a success story out of it, because Sean Murray's a really nice guy. Does Stardew spark joy? Oh, I've been like on the fence. On one hand, I think a Stardew series would do really well. I think people would love it. I played Stardew back, I think when it was early access or right when it came out. I did one episode of it and I thought it was great, and people liked it, and I guess it just didn't really vibe with me at the time. I was like, yeah, I'll play more. And then I went back and played it with Evelien. I think I talked about this before. Our heating went out in our house, and it was just miserable. It was hard to be in. It was like winter. It was freezing in every room, so we had to turn on a heater and stay in one of our rooms here, and we would just bake out that room. Not with weed, just like turn on a fan and like turn it into a little oven. And it was just kind of miserable to do anything else. So we would just wake up. I was like, I kind of want to play Stardew. And Evelyn was like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, I kind of feel like now's the time. Because I always knew I would. And I was like, I just need to be in that moment. I need to feel it. And then we did it. And we just started playing. We played it all day. Went to bed. Woke up the next day. Literally, start of the day, 9:30, 10 a.m. Turned it on, played it until midnight, and went to bed. We never left the room. We just played that. We just ordered food for like 5 days until our heating was fixed, and we played through the whole thing. We didn't 100% it, but I think we got all the obelisks. And then I found out what was needed to 100% it, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I have never been more convinced that Evelyn is a psychopath that she did that. I was like, oh, I'm sure it's hard to get 100%. Like, there's a lot to do. And then I finally figured out what was needed to do 100%. And I was like, anybody that is... I turned to Evelyn and I was like, my love, you were a fucking lunatic. Anybody that has done this for fun is a fucking psychopath. I'm sorry. Any of you who'd... Actually, I'm not sorry. You're literal lunatics. The idea of doing that just does not seem fun. The random chance on certain things, the things you have to get, even the things that I was well within my ability to get, like that wasn't random chance, I was like, fuck this. This is so tedious. So we did like the center, the community center, and we did like the obelisks and stuff, and we got the ending, we got credits, Granddad came back, all that kind of stuff. And I had a blast. I thought it was great. But I had more fun playing with Evelyn, who knew what to do and made a plan for us, but gave me enough room to sort of improvise what I was doing, and didn't like there was some times where we all do it, where you drop a bomb by accident and blow up your farm. I did that, and she was like, oh no, but it's not like a big deal. You don't lose anything. We just save scummed our way back through it, and like it was just really fun. And I worry if I do a series on it that so many people know what to do with the game already, that I'm worried it's going to be like an Undertale type of thing, where Stardew's way nicer. Like, the Stardew community is just great. They're just having fun. They just want to see more people play it. But there are going to be those people that will just make it unfun, where they'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe you did that. You could do that so much easier this way. And I'm like, I just don't want to deal with that. I just want to have fun. So I was like, maybe me and Evelyn could do it together, but it also is just a massive undertaking. It's so much to get through that I've just kind of been like sitting on the fence about it for so long. Have you considered fuck the unfun brigade? Well, it's also like, I know myself, and I know that there's a chance I'll start playing it and then get bored and not want to play it, and then it's like, I don't want to stop a series then that people are enjoying like that. Guest star in hers? I could, but you know, it'd be fun to just have like a series, because when me and Evelyn were playing it, as we were going by, I was like learning all the characters and seeing everybody, and I was like, who's that person? And Evelyn was like, that's Haley. And she was like teaching me everybody. And I was like, okay, fun. And then she was like, oh god, I can't even remember the names now. Who's the Evelyn's wife, who's into crystals? You're gonna say the name, I'm gonna be like, of course that's her. Emily. Yes, Emily. Everyone was like, well, here's my girlfriend, here's my wife, and I was like, okay, good to know what you've been doing behind my back. And then Haley started talking, and I was like, Haley fucking sucks. And everyone was like, uh-huh. And I was like, fuck her, I'm not doing anything with her. So I would just like go up to certain characters and be like, this guy's a fucking asshole. Fuck this bitch. And I would just run away. And I thought that was really fun. And I was like, man, it would be fun to do a let's play and like just fuck around like that. And then by the end of the game, you're like, all God's children, they're all beautiful. They all have a turning point where they all end up great. There's always something to love about one of the characters. You'll start off hating someone, except Pierre. Fuck Pierre, capitalist pig. There's some characters where I'm like, oh, they had a turning point. Like Shane, I didn't like. And then at the end, I was like, Oh, he's just broken. I can fix him. I just can't believe that, what was it? I gave Pierre something, and then he was trying to, like, upsell it to people. He was trying to, like, fucking charge people extra money for it later. And I was like, you're a dick. And technically, all you people are dicks. I came to this place to take over a farm for my granddad. None of you fucking helped me. All of you were, like, just hanging around. Your town was shit. Your community center was fucking garbage. None of you were taking care of it. I came in and fixed it all, which just shows that you all came as like, oh, it's fixed, great. It's just gonna get disheveled again. You people can't fix things and keep them sustained. Like, the town fell apart without me. As soon as I leave and stop paying attention to it, that town's falling apart again. It's full of sex pests, alcoholics, capitalist shitheads. There's like so many people. The only good person is the homeless guy, and everyone treats him like shit. And he brought me into his tent and maybe jerked me off. I don't know what happened in there. But man, was it fun. The lady wanted to fucking drive the bus, and she basically asked for vodka. And then you gave her actual potato juice, and she's like, no, not that. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want you drinking vodka and then driving me to the desert. You're gonna crash and kill both of us. What are you talking about? And then I was like, maybe they, what's the, God, I can't remember anything now that I have to remember it. What's the awful company? It's something Mart. Junji Ito. Joja. Yeah, I knew it was a... Yeah, Joja. I kind of feel like they should take over the town. You know what? The bad ending. I feel like that's the correct one. Because what else is going to happen? There's 2 kids in the town. Somehow you have to have a teacher salary. Clint closes way too early, considering I'm the only one bringing him geodes. How the fuck are you making any money? Pierre's upselling everything to a town of people who don't care. You know, this town makes no sense. Like, you couldn't keep the community center fine on your own, so you relied on me, and then I come in and fix it, and it's just gonna get disheveled again. I fix up this farm all on my own. There's a literal wizard in town that for some reason is ostracized, that none of you want to talk to or talk about. He does magic! Pierre's own wife is knocking boots with the wizard. Is she? Damn. No, Evelyn's heard this from me and she thought it was funny, but she was always like, no, they're nice. Little fucking shithead kids as well. I feel like I remembered all of their names, but no, I can't. Wait, I'll look up a picture of... I'm gonna go through all the characters. And I'm gonna say who I liked and who I didn't. Okay. Abigail, I have no beef with you. You were pretty cool. Alex, you kind of have that stereotypical look about you that you're gonna be an asshole. Can't really remember what he did. Is Alex... Do we like Alex or not? Is Alex a dickhead? I can't remember if I liked him or not. I forget what he does. I also kind of forget people's... He's the jock. Yeah, I don't think I liked him. Birdie, I actually can't remember them. Bouncer, you guys don't count. Caroline, I don't really have much trouble with Caroline. Wasn't she just trying to teach yoga in the back of the store? Female equals hate, male equals like. You can do whatever you want with Stardew Valley. Caroline is a hottie. Clint, we know you're in there. We know, like, the store's open. You have nothing else to do. Just let me in and crack my geodes. Demetrius, I have no problem with Demetrius. Elliot, my God, was Elliot fun to make fun of. I know he's... All of these characters are like, they all have like a softer side to them. There's always something to them that like, they're more than meets the eye, and that's fun. I like that about the game. But Elliot, I kept being like, oh, I'm Elliot. I take long walks on the beach. That's who Elliot was to me. Emily, go fuck yourself. You stole my girlfriend. Also, you tried to sell me crystals. Not into it. Emily's great. Evelien, I thought was fun. George, an old curmudgeon. I'm not allowed to hate the old people, even though I think Evelien deserves better. Gil, nothing wrong with you. Governor, Grandpa, I don't care about you guys. Gus, I liked Gus. He's just trying to take care of everybody. He feels like the dad of the town. You know, he's just trying to make sure everybody's okay, everybody has a drink in their hand. He's just always cleaning glasses. He's just sitting there, he's fine. Haley, go fuck yourself. Die in a fire. Harvey, I couldn't get a read on Harvey. Haley was mean to me as soon as I got to the fucking place. I just got there. Why the shade? Why was she bringing so much heat to me? I think Evelien said she didn't like Haley as well, and she started doing stuff with Haley in this version she's doing. She's like, oh, Haley's actually kind of nice. Harvey, I feel like has some sort of like secret agenda going on. I feel like there's something going on with Harvey underneath that mustache. Jas, you're a child, I can't say anything. Jody's a hottie. Jody I liked. I had a thing for the ladies with the ponytails for some reason. Maybe it's my Lara Croft crush from when I was a kid. I thought Jody was a hottie. She's a MILF. Kent came back in, ruined the whole fucking plan. It's like Kent was like Batman to my Rizzler. You know, I was having a great time until he showed up. He's taking back his wife. Oh, whatever. Krobus is fine. I like little Kroby. Leah, she has a ponytail. She's a hottie. No, Leah's not. Is Leah the one that sells animals? What the fuck does Leah do? Leah's cottage. She does something. Art? Oh, Marnie sells the animals. That's it. Look, there's so many characters. I played it once. I can't remember. Yeah, Leah's fine. Leo, he's the kid on Ginger Island. He's kind of cool. Lewis? Lewis be knocking boots. Lewis be fucking making some mayonnaise behind the fucking trash cans, if you know what I mean. Lewis be getting it. Oh, man. Lewis in the bushes, caught red fucking tipped. Is it Marnie he's doing that with? I think so. Yeah. Linus is the best of all of them. Linus is the best character. Marlon is cool because he has an eye patch. Why would you hate him? Marnie's cool. She gives me animals. I have nothing against Marnie. She is just Autumn Queen. Except she's knocking boots with Lewis. So I feel like her taste in men is maybe not great. Maru, she is like, is she stargazing? Isn't there a thing with her with like a telescope and stuff? I'm not gonna besmirch. I feel like Maru in our playthrough was very, we didn't do much with her. I think she was just kind of in the background. I don't think we really like prioritize her or maxed her out or anything like that, but she's a science major. She's smart. Morris? No one's gonna like Morris. Mr. Key, you don't count. Pam, I fixed up your house. And I would like you to, she's Penny's mom, right? I fixed it up, Pam. I think you and Penny should sit down, talk to each other, maybe work through some stuff, get emotional, appreciate the nice new house that I built for you. You know, go to therapy a little. Maybe not ask for vodka and drive me off a cliff on the way to the desert. Penny, I like Penny. She's just a teacher trying to get by. I'm not going to say anything bad about a teacher. Therapy in this economy, you're right. I mean, I fucking fixed up her house. I gave her that. I feel like I remembered her not being as grateful as I wanted her to be. In terms of like, nice deeds are a currency in Stardew Valley. I felt like I didn't get reciprocated very much. Penny's the teacher, right? She just wants to make a wage. She's trying to deal with kids, and she has to deal with fucking Vincent. So I'm not gonna knock Penny. Penny's fine. She's just trying to get by. I'm not gonna knock a teacher. Pierre, I've already talked about you. You with your crescent glasses. You're a villain. You're Joja in the making. If other people didn't put some fucking dampers on Pierre, if people didn't stop him, I feel like he's just Joja waiting to happen. He wants to sell stuff for a maximum amount of money, and only for us and the town stopped him, he would have got away with it. Robin's cool. Robin gives me shit. Robin's like fucking OG. You get to Stardew Valley and it feels like Robin's the only one that's like, I will help you. Robin's on my farm building entire buildings for me. What am I gonna say to her? Sam, you're basically Goku. You look like him anyway. I honestly can't remember anything about Sam. Oh, he's Vincent's brother. Right. I don't think I liked Sam. You know, he just... you know, people are talking about aura a lot right now on the internet. I feel like his aura is off. You know, go out, get a fucking job. Pay rent. You know that Sam's a moocher, for sure. Definitely. Sebastian, I'm never gonna knock someone who is still in their My Chemical Romance phase. Just seems like he would have some killer tracks in his room. Like, you would walk into his room, it would probably smell like weed, but at least he would like put on some fucking fire emo songs. Shane, I hated you, but then I found out you were an alcoholic and it was really sad. And seeing him collapsed in the middle of the fucking grass like broke my heart, and then I completely 180'd on him and I felt so fucking bad for hating him the whole time. And I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. Vincent, stop prank calling my house. Oh, hey, do you have chickens? Okay, bye. I'm fucking busy. I only have a certain amount of hours in the day. I'm not gonna answer the phone to you. Learn something in school. Plus you like give him something and he's like, oh, thanks. And then he fucking gives you dirt. Oh, but he's a kid. I don't fucking care. Willie's chill. Big man, small pond, loves the ocean. And the wizard, I don't know, I feel like he could probably kill everybody in town if he wanted to, but he's just being chill about it, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about him. That's it, that's Stardew Valley. Giving snails to Vincent is fun? That does sound like fun. But yeah, I feel like it would be fun to do Stardew Valley at some point. Even just to like fuck around in it, maybe do a series on it where we don't have to finish it. Like, put no pressure on it. Stardew Smash or Pass. Some of those are children, so maybe hold up a mirror to yourself and that would be funny. I don't think there's enough characters outside of those. Outside of the ones that like you shouldn't be putting those into a list like that. It feels like there's probably not that many characters, but it would be funny to do it. I don't know, it's just so beloved. I liked it a lot. I love, even though it may not be my type of game, like I'm not really into farming games, and I did hugely enjoy. It's one of those games that I'm like, that's a 10 out of 10 game, even though it's not necessarily my thing. But it's hard, like you can't fault it for anything. I played it and I was like, I'm just having a good time. And I did it once and I didn't really have the itch to like go back and try a different farm or anything, but I was like, dude, that's 10 out of 10. I can't. One dude made this. What am I gonna say? There's nothing wrong with it. It's as close to perfect a video game can be. And we went to the Stardew Valley concert in London this year. And like the people who were into Stardew Valley, the people that went to this concert and the emotions that were going on, it was fucking awesome. I was sitting there listening to Stardew music and I was like tearing up. And I'm like, this game isn't even like something that I'm the most into, but it means so much to Evelien, and so many people were coming up to her and saying hi, and they got into it through her, and she was like the Stardew person. And I was like, this is just fucking great. This is such a good time. Concerned Ape is awesome. This is like the most perfect video game success story, and I can't wait for Haunted Chocolatier. I kind of want to play Stardew now. I'll talk to Evelien about it and see what happens. Because that's also the thing where I'm like, I don't really know what to do with my channel right now, and like certain series, I'm like, I don't really want to do that, I don't really want to do this, so maybe Stardew is the answer. Boot it up, run it! We'll see what happens. But Evelien also has like her own work and her own stuff going on, so I don't really want to, she already has a Stardew series going on right now, so if we did it together, I don't really want to like eat up her time. She's playing it right now? What? My dear, my love? Stardew? She is. What's she doing? She J chillin'. I'm blocking her. Now, it's just like I'm playing Stardew. Look, it's me. Wow, look at my farm. Here I go. I'm walking left. No, I'm going in here.
Is she in here?
That's my voice. I have a different voice. She's talking to Haley.
Happy birthday or whatever. Best birthday gift ever. Oh wow, thanks. Sister's still
See?
here sometime. Don't you dare. She's the best.
I don't know that interaction. Does she love or hate?
Okay.
Hate Haley now?
Oh, I could have.
Does Evelien love or hate Haley now? I'm so unsure. I also love, there was a meme I saw one time with that, it was like at Stardew Valley, and it was like that guy, it was like nothing, just hanging around, and it was like him next to the trash cans. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, nothing, just hanging around. You know, I'm not doing anything. What are you doing? And then they turn their back, they're like, ha, rummage through the garbage. I'm not a fan of Emily. She gives off Gemini vibes. I feel like if you're saying that sentence, you should 100% like Emily. She is absolutely the person that would talk to you about astrology and crystals. She asked what you wanted to eat later. Ooh. Good question. What do I want to make? I don't know. It's probably about that time, actually. I think I'll probably call it here. But this was fun. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Been a while, but I appreciate that there's still people here willing to fuck around and listen and hang out. Will I do it again soon? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with myself lately. I'm vibing, you know? I'm just being myself and doing whatever I want to do when I want to do it, and I think that that's great, so stay tuned. You never know what I'm willing to do next. I could do anything. But let's raid Evelien. Why not? Ooh, raid channel? There's a whole thing now. Ooh, this is a fun way of doing it. She's doing Stardew, so you might as well. Go, be nice. She's probably gonna end soon anyway. But yeah, go, hang out, be nice, be chill. Tell Evelien she's great, have fun watching Stardew. Okay, bye. Am I out? I have no idea. No, I'm not. I'm still here. What is happening? I don't know what I did. Okay, see ya!